What is going on, everybody? It is episode 230 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I am here with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, Crisis Actors. It's Mary once again. We are going to have fun today. I'm determined.
We're going to have fun if you guys like it or not.
Yes.
Yes, that's what it is. That's what Mondays are for. That's what Mondays are for. We're gonna talk about a bunch of stuff, but before we get into what we're gonna talk about, we've got a guest host today, a main guest host, if you will. Would you introduce yourself, sir?
Hey everyone, Dane Font here, marketing man extraordinaire. I feel like I need to repeat that and enunciate that for some people.
Marketing man extraordinaire. Do you hear that, ladies and gentlemen?
Thank you. Right.
We are so spoiled to have you on a Friday and then consecutive Monday.
Yeah, it's kind of like dessert. Yeah. Dessert before dinner.
After having you gone for so long, we deserve this.
Feeling better, bud?
I'm a gracious God.
Feeling better?
Yeah, I'm feeling good.
All right. I was kind of waiting for more there, but no more came.
Feeling real good.
You can taste food again, so that's great.
I can taste food again. And let me tell you guys, when you eat meat that's flavorless, very jarring.
Yeah, I can imagine it would be
jarring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like when I had COVID, I couldn't smell. It was a couple months for me.
I still can't smell very well.
I still don't believe that this is real. Never had it.
My dog's been ripping farts, according to my girl, and I can't smell them at all.
That's a blessing. Yeah,
it really is.
It's a blessing in disguise.
I'm luckily that is not what's going on here. We had a bunch of stuff to talk about today. I want to talk about Black Adam, and a lot of people have their own conclusions as to why this movie did very well, and well is a relative term, but we're going to get into the opening weekend for Black Adam starring The Rock. We're going to talk about...
Sorry, someone said that in the thumbnail The Rock looks like he's melting. And it's so true.
I was looking for like a picture of like the whole cast for the thumbnail. And as you know, like when they're doing that type of photo, like they tend to be spread out pretty wide. So it's a wide photo, but unfortunately our thumbnail design doesn't really allow for that. So this one that I found, I even had to edit that one because it was like whoever had it on had like their flash on like the highest setting and like everybody was super blown out. But I do, that is not the first time The Rock, guys, has worn like a double-breasted suit with no
nothing underneath.
Like, I guess, if you can pull it off, that's all you. But, that's just me. I wouldn't wear it. We're also going to talk about an actor named Zach. Is it Barack or Barack?
I think it's Barack.
Barack. Okay, so Zach Barack is a transgender actor that was in Spider-Man: Far From Home, and he had some choice words to say about what Marvel is doing for the LGBTQ community. And I think we have some thoughts about what
it's not enough. Let me guess.
Yeah, it's not enough. So we're going to get into that. Thank you, guys. And then we're going to talk about the fallout of making a show like Dahmer, which is proving to be very, very, very bad for Jeffrey Dahmer.
Kind of proving some toxic traits of femininity.
Yeah.
To be this fixated on a literal murderer.
The memes have been incredible, though. The memes have been incredible.
Yeah.
There was one the other day, like where it's like white women every time a serial killer escapes from prison, they're like opening their windows and unlocking their doors and everything.
Why is that? Why do chicks love?
We'll get into it.
Yes.
We'll get into it.
Exactly. Yes, we're getting ahead of ourselves,
Spoilers,
ladies and gentlemen. So we got that. We got Podluck. We will just get right into it if you guys are ready. Mary, are we ready?
We're ready.
Dane, are we ready?
Dude, so much.
Let's do this.
Already.
So it says Black Adam powers to $67 million opening. Biggest opening as a leading man for Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. This is a Sunday AM update from Deadline. I will always call him Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I will never call him Dwayne Johnson. He's always
Dwayne Johnson just sounds like a random guy you meet on the street.
Thank you. So the movie made $67 million at the U.S. box office. Remember, the original prediction was for $70 million, and then they lowered it to $60 when the critics gave bad reviews, as if critics still mattered. That they think that's a thing still, believe it or not. It made $140 million worldwide, and a big thing to note for that is that for the U.S., it had a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday box office. For most of Europe, it was just Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so they did not have Thursday showings contributing to that amount. It was about a $200 million movie to make, so it's still got a long way to go if it's going to become profitable. But I think what we're learning here is it's at 39% on critics, rotten from critics, and 90% from audiences, which is around the same as Joker.
However, we noted that the reviews from fans are going to be higher when it's the opening weekend because those are the people who are going to want to see it as soon as possible. I think that the fan reviews are going to get lower.
Opening day, Thursday night reviews, I buy that. Weekend reviews, I think you're getting a fairly good sample size for that opening weekend. It may drop, but I feel like the Thursday previews, yeah, you're absolutely going to get people who are just diehard fans, want to go. But the thing that people keep focusing on here is that they're saying that the movie's not woke, and that's why it did really well. I would contend that there's absolutely woke elements to this movie, but the thing that they have going for them is they didn't spend the last 2 or 3 months telling you you're a horrible person if you don't go and see this and talking about anything but the movie. They weren't talking about representation. They weren't talking about people needing to see this movie so that they can become more cultured. They just said this is a big budget superhero starring a very famous actor that everybody knows. Go and see it. You could make even points that The Rock paid lip service to fans and the importance of fans, but I don't think that's what it is. I think it's just the fact that they weren't being bombarded with B-level actors telling them they were bad people if they didn't go see this. My logic here is this. If you watch this movie, remember, we talked at the beginning where the mother's son, the son character, he immediately starts going on about oppression and colonialism and all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
But without the 3 months of people telling you you're an awful person if you don't go see this, that has a slightly more palatable taste in your mouth. It leaves a less awful taste in your mouth when you don't have to think about how the actors think you're a horrible person for saying that. That's my logic there.
But did we hear any of that in the press for, say, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness?
Oh, yeah.
Or the Batman?
At the very least...
Not from what I remember.
At the very least, the marketing there was talking about the importance of representation. Let's not just talk about whether... hold on there. Let's not talk about whether they're talking about whether the fans are red. They weren't marketing it as something more than what it was. They weren't telling you that you had to go see this because it was important because it had LGBTQ representation or it had minority representation. They were just telling you it was a movie you should go and see.
I think maybe something has happened to us. Like, we are going through these movies and the marketing for them with a fine-toothed comb, looking for so-called wokeness. I hate that term now because it kind of it puts a movie into this box, and if there's even one crumb of wokeness in the marketing for it, then it gets painted with the broad brush.
It's because
wokeness was certainly not a problem in Black Adam.
No, it wasn't.
There were woke elements in it, but there, like, we talked about it and we addressed those things specifically. Gosh, that character, what was his name?
Which one?
The Sarah Shahi's son.
I don't know the character's name.
Again, this movie had so many forgettable characters and plot points. But he was talking about, like, you've polluted our air and taken our resources and oppressed our people and blah, blah, blah. That was the first red flag.
Yeah.
But that doesn't sound as woke as it sounds as bad writing.
Sure. I mean, it's both, though, because you know, like, what kind of writer's room it comes from.
Right.
Who is in that writer's room.
Well, no, that's the thing. We don't know what type of writer's room this comes from because we don't have a bunch of writers and directors and actors telling us we're awful people or telling us that those were important story elements here. We don't know that. But
it was
what I think
slipped
matters.
in there to be subversive. We know that was on purpose. We know it was on purpose that they race-swapped Black Adam, which they can do because it was not a super relevant character beforehand. They... race-swapped Hawkman.
Yes.
Again, like, they can just kind of slip these things in and it's not noticed. But we've become very hyper aware of those things, and a mainstream viewer is not paying attention to that, and they're not paying attention even to the other side of it. They're not paying attention to The Rock posting on Twitter about how the fans come first and we're delivering for them.
I disagree. I don't know necessarily if it's that we are checking these movies with a fine, I don't know, the
toothed
figure
comb.
of speech. Fine-toothed comb?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know if it's necessarily that, or it's that progressivism and wokeness, when it's integrated into films, it's like a bucket of cold water splashed on your face that completely breaks the immersion. For example, the most recent example that I can think of is during the Batman with the sparkly guy when he's the Batman.
Robert Pattinson.
The sparkly guy.
Yeah. So that movie is woke
There
at
was
all.
and there was marketing there, by the way. Zoe Kravitz did not do that movie any favors in the run up to that movie.
Well, that was her interviews. But the thing is, there was a scene where they're in a rooftop, and she says, "rich white patriarchy" or something like that. And it was so out of the blue. And I
Yeah,
was like,
something
"What?"
about powerful rich white men.
Yeah.
And then but again, I've said before, I think that was supposed to, maybe it failed to do this, but it was supposed to speak to the audience like, that Batman's character fits that description. He's a rich, powerful white man, yet he's not morally compromised on the whole.
The thing is, but it just slaps you in the face because normal people don't talk that way.
Yes.
Like when we're shooting the shit up here, like we don't talk that way. When you're talking with your friends on Discord or doing whatever, you don't talk that way. So that's why my argument is that it's not that we're super scanning for progressiveness. Well, sometimes maybe we are, and that's a fault that we have. But it's just that it slaps you in the face, and it makes you be like, "Hey, what's going on here?"
Well, in a way, movies kind of always have to make their characters talk in a way that we don't, right?
Well,
that's unavoidable.
It's a bit off
Really?
topic, but in that movie, it doesn't work because the rest of the dialogue in that movie is very evergreen, and that was very of current year, so it felt like it stood out more. I want to point out one more thing, which is that whenever movies are released now, whether we're talking movies and TV shows, whether we're talking Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, or any Marvel movie, whenever the companies do their promotion after it's released, they talk about the fantastic Rotten Tomato score, which, as we know, means nothing. Black Adam is going the other way. The Rock released this tweet that says, "This phenomenal 90% audience score from Black Adam is so gratifying for so many reasons. 15 years, thank you all so much for all of the love and support. In the end, the only thing that matters to me is sending the people home happy, and that is what I'll always fight for." Look,
He has
I love
been
that.
media
This is not-
trained to the max.
I mean, I love that still.
this is not rocket science. He's doing it right. He's doing what you should be
Sure.
doing. Whether even if it's just on the outlook, maybe you went into this movie and it was like meh, like that. I mean, most of the people we went with, I loved it. Everyone else, it was meh. But the average person, what will leave them with a better impression? Going into the movie and hearing that afterwards, or going into the movie and finding out that critics loved it, but you're like meh, whatever. Focusing on the audience automatically kind of, perception is currency in this world, right? And if this movie is perceived by audiences as good, it's going to have or lower drops week to week. So the hope is that good word of mouth, whether because the movie was actually good or because people are just glad that The Rock isn't calling them names, will contribute to this movie having lower drops from week to week. So the box office will hopefully hold steady and lead to more money, which will lead to more films.
I got a question, Brett. Is there a movie genre where you would take the critic score more importantly for you personally than the audience score?
That's an interesting question. Stuff with less social capital. Okay, if it's science fiction, I don't trust a thing the critics have to say. If it's anything that has franchise potential, I don't trust anything the critics have to say. We've been watching The Peripheral, I've been watching.
I've watched the premiere as well. Okay, I gave it a fair chance.
And I read a couple of the critic reviews of it, and I agreed with about half of them. I disagreed with about half of them. But for a show like that, which is not it's gorgeous. It's beautifully shot. It's the cinematography is fantastic.
You know more about that than I do.
it-
I didn't find it particularly.
I'm saying it looked expensive because of the location shooting. If there was a lot of location shooting there, or if that was CGI, either way, that's expensive.
What was that yellow filter they put over everything that was set in the future?
It's yellow and blue.
Hate it.
All the things are yellow and blue in Hollywood right now. But the point is that if the movie has less of a reason for them to get involved, I trust their opinions more. If it's a big budget blockbuster coming from one of these major studios, I don't really trust them to have honest opinions. One, because it may be part of a franchise that they work for a company that's a subsidiary of a company that's got a stake in that product. or it's because like you'll notice that a lot of articles get written. Remember when, even on the other side of things, remember when Father Stu came out and there was like randomly really positive articles on like Cinema Blend about it mixed with articles about how bad it was because it was religious. Those articles get written because they're not paid for it, but they're told to write an article about it. So if there's less of a reason for them to be antagonistic towards the fans, I have more of a likelihood that I'm actually going to trust what they have to say. But that's still like that's irrelevant. I don't trust them either way.
Would that be in like a rom-com, a horror movie?
Right. Because
less social capital, the older the audience is, maybe?
Like the Terminal List, actually that's a horrible example because they pan the Terminal List, and the Terminal List was great.
So yours is more by theme, not by genre, is what you're saying. Like if it covers a certain amount of topics, then
yeah. If there's some type of social messaging that the show wants to push and the marketing reflects that, I'm not going to trust the ratings.
Okay. How about you? Is there like a genre where you would trust more the critic score? Because I remember before all the woke madness, particularly, I used to take critic scores in a way they would matter to me more than the audience score, but now it's completely the opposite.
It's the opposite.
I care about neither at this point.
Yeah.
And here's me like
Neither.
Being the devil's advocate, I guess, again, because I understand completely why critics might give Black Adam negative reviews.
Or why fans
would give them positive. Yeah. But both, I think, are prioritizing the wrong things. If critics think that Black Adam did not prioritize the right social messages or use its platform for good, then that's stupid, obviously. But if they're pointing out ways that the plot didn't follow, ways that it was shot in a disjointed way, ways that the score was overwhelmingly bad, or like that the dialogue was weak, or it was cut the wrong way, whatever, all of that would be totally valid to point out. And then on the side of the audience, I mean, this is a false battleground anyway. It doesn't need to exist, but it's become this way, like a battleground of a culture war because of the critics. I admit that. But on the audience side, they might be giving it a positive review either because diehard fans are going to like it regardless of the quality, or like Brett said, they have a very low bare minimum standard that if you don't hate me, I will support you.
I will also point out that this movie is objectively has a ton of flaws. I understand that. I never said that the movie was a functionally perfect movie.
You said it's not a good movie, but it was fun to watch.
Yes.
And my problem with it is like I wasn't expecting it to be some kind of masterpiece or even that well thought out. If it were fun to watch aside from that, then that means it's good and it accomplished what it set out to do. But I didn't find it fun to watch. I found it extraordinarily boring. Yep. And like
maybe it's just for the bros, dude.
Maybe it is just for the bros, and that's fine. That's fine. But like and I do want to like it. I want to be, in the crowd that likes the thing that people like right now. I want to fit in, okay? But it was boring as hell.
My thing is that
I'm not going to pretend it wasn't.
If it's deeply flawed and yet it's entertaining to watch, I feel that its score should be like a 70.
Okay.
Yeah. If it's fun to watch, then you've got me 90% of the way there, to liking it.
It really concerns me that now, after we've been beaten over the head so much, that now our criteria is so low that we would give a deeply flawed thing almost perfect score.
Well, if you want them to make things that don't annoy you, then you may have to accept some deeply flawed things in the time being to reinforce, like a dog, good behavior from the Hollywood people, like, good boy, don't insult the fans and treat them like absolutely horrible human beings. Do your job and you'll earn the money that you're making. I also want to point out that I did find it funny that a lot of people really, really love Dr. Fate. They love Dr. Fate, and I just didn't feel like there was enough screen time there. Like, I love Pierce Brosnan, and Pierce Brosnan as an actor is levels above everyone else that was part of that cast. But that's literally existing on the backs of him and his talent, right? I didn't feel like the character was so well written that it got the positive attention that they're getting in The Rock, again, because he wants to be. He wants to push for the fans to get what they want, is saying that, don't worry, that he says, Dr. Fate is one of my favorites too, and you will see more of him, I promise. We wanted Black Adam to be visually stunning, so thank you for that nod. Everyone in the movie, he says, everyone? I don't know what that means.
Everyone in the movie?
Maybe. So yeah, they're already plotting out. I didn't misread that, guys. It's the movie, everyone.
Okay.
They're
Dr. Fate is coming back, even
yes.
though, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, he was shown sacrificing his life to save his team.
That's so lame.
I don't even think that plot point made sense. I didn't think that it was even necessary for the plot for him to do that.
We argued our way around like that, saying that like he didn't have to hold them off to make that sacrifice or to call for Black Adam to come back.
So he's coming back in the future in another DC film, and it's like, once again, we're running into this problem in both Marvel and DC,
Black Widow.
There are no stakes to anything, and no character is gone for good. Their deaths don't mean anything, so why were you even invested in watching them fight villains if nothing can happen to them anyway? They are completely invincible, and you can't get emotionally invested in a character as quickly as they introduced him anyway.
Yeah, I mean, like, Sabak didn't exactly come into like the end of the movie anyways.
People kind of liked Dr. Fate, I think, in a contrarian way, because they're like, even though Doctor Strange has been on screen longer, we still like Dr. Fate because he was the OG. And it's like, well, DC's playing catch up by adding him on screen anyway.
If there was any actor in that series that I would think had like if they were to give any of those actors their own movie, I would give it to Pierce Brosnan before I would give it to the rest of them. That's just me personally, but that's because he has a far bigger portfolio and has proven himself as a good actor for far longer. Granted, Aldous Hodge has been acting since like Leverage was in like 2007, so he was acting well before that. But Pierce Brosnan is a known commodity at the box office. Okay. I think of Aldous Hodge as more of a television. In fact, I thought of most of those other actors as television level actors. And that was something that I thought was really interesting. Aldous Hodge, maybe it's changed and I'm just not hip with the times, but Sarah Shahi was a television star. Aldous Hodge was a television star. The other two members, Noah Centineo is a television star or a streaming.
Yeah, streaming movies.
And the other one I hadn't seen anything from, the young lady in
Quintessa Swindell or Schwindel or something.
It's an awesome name. Quintessa's an awesome name.
I only know Brosnan from James Bond.
Well, yeah.
People are asking for a Dr. Fate TV series, actually, for streaming on HBO Max.
That could work. I mean, it would give you like, or if you're going to make a TV series, make a JSA TV series. I don't know. So it was very, very interesting to me. Thank you. That was loud. It was loud today. It was very, very interesting to me why I really do think that all these studios have to do is the bare minimum, dude. Just I was looking back at the marketing, and it's just The Rock, like, this movie, man, this movie, trying to get it made for 15 years. This movie. Focus outward. Focus on what you're creating, not what other people are supposed to interpret your creation as, and the fans will reward you. And it's like, I'm trying to make your job easier, Hollywood. I'm literally trying to tell you how to do this with minimal effort because people have been beat down so badly. It's like battered wives syndrome. They'll just keep coming back for more, even though they know it's a bad idea. There's a way around this, and it's by, believe it or not, just not treating people like absolute crap.
Well, also by just doing the obvious smart business decision to reintroduce your flagship characters instead of introducing characters that maybe people have known about for longer than their Marvel analogs, but who have not gained an emotional investment in.
Yep.
A Dr. Fate movie wouldn't do well because of Doctor Strange, even though he's an older character than Doctor Strange.
But as a TV show, it might work.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. But DC just needs to recognize that they are at a disadvantage because Marvel is way ahead of them as far as film adaptations
Plus,
go.
Marvel is screwing up their TV shows really bad, so maybe learn to dominate that space. But there's more money to be made in film.
Right. And they just need to like get the leadership and infrastructure going.
I was trying to think.
They messed up Iron Fist and they messed up She-Hulk. What else?
They've She-Hulk was bad. Iron Fist is bad.
People are not having good expectations for the new Daredevil Reborn
Or
series.
at the very least, what it does is it waters down the product, right? There's just so much stuff coming out.
Yeah,
that
there's too much.
And
there's too
also,
much.
in order to keep up with the film releases, you have to watch the TV series that are on the side.
Yep.
That's ridiculous.
My thing is that there has to be an A-lister IP. There's not. Like She-Hulk.
Spider-Man is their A-list IP, but they don't own Spider-Man. Sony does. So
Well, then what's the point? Because like She-Hulk is like F tier. Like, no one cares.
there was
And
a really-
I get tired of people like, oh well, there's some people somewhere that actually care. No, they don't. Okay.
They made some very
over it.
obvious mistakes with She-Hulk that could have been easily avoided. Social justice messaging aside, like just visually, her character is like repulsive looking. I'm
Not
sorry.
having not having a lawyer.
graphics are really bad.
Not having a lawyer help write
Well,
lawyer
yeah.
scenes.
For me, all
With
that
so much
aside,
talk about representation in writers' rooms,
for me,
right?
all that aside, I've heard of the Avengers and Spider-Man. Those are the A tier, like point blank. Period. And X-Men. I think X-Men are Marvel as well.
Yes, but
Yeah,
they're,
and
they're
that's A tier as well. Everything
That's why
else,
they're bringing back Hugh Jackman in Deadpool.
I mean, you don't need a.
yeah, but they're having a really hard time casting for the X-Men for future and Fantastic Four. We'll see where that goes. I just think right now that the best thing that they could do is to continue placating the fans as best they can.
Placating
yeah.
it makes the fans sound like they're the problem. Even still, as you're pandering to them, I don't think they
Let
need.
me rephrase that.
Yeah.
Okay. What I mean is that they need to do the bare minimum to please the people that give them money. Placating is the wrong word. Fine, but
I like that you're waving money in the air as
yes.
you're
Yeah,
talking about it.
as we do.
It's just this isn't rocket science. It's not rocket science. They could be doing this a whole lot better. By the way, there's a really funny meme about Iron Fist where they're talking about how basically like everyone hated that show until they saw She-Hulk, and now they're like, maybe it wasn't so bad after all.
I bet.
If they just continue lowering your expectations over and over, then they won't have to perform as well.
Genius strategy. Right?
I just don't think that there's
Life
anything
hack.
wrong with
Life hack.
that there's anything wrong with the idea that you just don't have to, that all you have to do is not talk to your fans like they're horrible people and tell them that there's a reason to see it other than to just be entertained. There should be no reason to go see a movie beyond being entertained. I don't give a crap about what cause you're championing. I don't give a crap about representation. If you want to have it in the movie, great, but the movie better still be entertaining. Like, I don't give a crap. And regular people don't give a crap. And that's not rocket science. The Rock put the focus on, maybe it proves that you need a bigger star. Maybe that they market. Thank you.
Sorry.
Wow.
Maybe they market the Rings of Power and they market all of these other shows because they don't have star power in these shows. They don't want to use Tolkien because they don't like Tolkien, whether they want to admit that or not. They hate Tolkien.
Right.
So they don't have Viggo Mortensen. They don't have any of the original cast. So they have to market it on bullshit progressivism. The Rock Black Adam has the highest paid actor in Hollywood. So you can market on the back of that actor. They can market Wolverine on the back of Hugh Jackman almost.
It astounds me how that show, Rings of Power, can spend so much money and none of it on the cast. Like,
Yeah.
how?
Yeah.
It
Where did it go?
Rings of Power seems like some elaborate money laundering scheme because the
may
sets
be.
don't look good, the costumes don't look good,
Yeah.
the actors are nobodies, the script is trash.
Brett was watching an episode upstairs as I was working, and obviously I can't tell him to turn it off because he's doing his job, but
Right.
I wanted to the entire time. It was grating.
Everything you've heard from Rings of Power is against your will.
I don't know. I don't really like Lord of the Rings. I think it's kind of cringe. But I understand people that that like medieval stuff and enjoy the lore. So like power to them. But everything I saw was super over the top, overacting. It's like, oh, I'm a Happy Doody from Dappy Doody Da, and they were just so intense with it.
And the dialogue is intensely try hard poetic.
That's what I meant.
It's like failing really really hard at imitating Tolkien's prose.
Yeah.
It's
And
a
it's
different
like-
era.
You didn't even need to make something derivative of an excellent author in the first place because you're set up for failure that way.
It sounded like it wasn't written by people that like the source material.
Yep.
Yeah. And even if you like the source material, you can't also hate the author at the same time. Because you're indicting the values of the author that essentially made his writing of that series possible.
Yeah.
Why would you even want to work on a project that you don't like? It's so. I mean, I get people that do it for the money, but it's like freaking hey, dude.
Think about what The
Yeah.
Rock says here about how Dr. Fate was one of his favorite too. Remember what you were talking about that one time when we were talking about you just want these people to feel like they like the material, like with video game adaptations.
Yeah.
We talked about that's what it feels like, that The Rock actually cares about the stuff in the movie. Does he? Did he read every Black Adam comic? No, I doubt that he did. But he's doing his job, and part of his job is to market this movie. It's like they forgot the first base principle of that. So
He's
But
such a
also-
brand. It's hard for me to believe that.
I'm picturing The Rock like laying on his stomach, kicking his feet in
I
the
love it.
air. And
with his double-breasted suit open,
with his head resting on his hand, and he's just tweeting to the fans like, "I love you."
I love it.
It's just I can't
Let's go.
I can't receive that pandering well. It seems disingenuous. Maybe it's not, but it's not really my job to care. Just make a good movie, and it wasn't good in my opinion. Sorry.
We all agree to disagree on that one because Brett liked it. But that is somebody said I saw actually a really great tweet. It said it was a movie as if Zack Snyder and Michael Bay had a baby, and I was like, let's freaking go!
I should watch.
Let's go!
If they had a baby, it would be you, Brett.
Yes, just tons of slow motion and explosions. Let's go.
I couldn't deal with the slow-mo shots, like the high-res slow-mo shots of each character in the ensemble. It was just like of the Justice Society.
Yeah. And I'm over here just like,
Is my heart supposed to be racing right now? Like, is this a really exciting moment?
What do you guys think is gonna happen to the Wakanda movie?
It's gonna do well.
No, I don't think so. I think that's.
I mean, the first Black Panther did amazingly.
But that movie was really good. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I think it's one of the best Marvel movies.
It's better. It was probably better than Black Adam.
I thought the
It
actor
just
was cool
marketed
too.
worse.
Rest in peace. I forgot your name.
Chadwick Boseman.
I thought he was great.
Yep.
But I can't imagine watching that movie without him.
Yep.
You know, if they weren't so shamelessly money hungry, which in a way is okay, but if they weren't, then they wouldn't have even made a sequel after Chadwick died.
They shouldn't have.
Yep.
Like,
And
that's a mistake.
They're gonna
in
make
my
it like a
opinion.
Yes Queen movie. Like Christ. dude.
Essentially, yeah. Yeah.
All right. Let's do super chats.
Carnell said, "It's Dane's World. Dane's World. Dane's World. It's pop culture crisis time. Excellent."
Am I Garth? No way. I'm the other guy.
Technically, you could be either there.
Base.
Technically, yeah. Are you Dane? Are you
Well,
are you Dane Campbell?
It's Dane's World.
Yes.
So
So you're Dane Campbell.
I am the
that
main
would
character.
make me
Correct.
Barth Algar.
Barth. Love it. Caper2X said, "Beatings to Dane will continue until he improves or we have fun. Comrade Mary."
Face the wall, please.
She
Dane.
does hit me.
It's true.
It's a
He's
thing.
like blinking Morse code. I use like Morse code for like, please help.
I'm watching you. Potatoes for Seamus said, "Why, Brett? Why? Why did the beard go? No."
Because I don't.
Why did you shave?
I apologize for that.
As you should.
It grows back fairly quickly. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
You'll live.
I'll live.
Center-
I did. It doesn't mean I don't regret it. As soon as every time I shave, I'm like, oh, God, why did you do that?
Dude, I shave every time I forget what my face looks like, and then I let it grow again.
That's exactly what I do.
It's my only way.
Center Conservative Mom 98 said, "I remember when I used to avoid spoilers for movies like Black Adam. Now I don't care. I watch you guys rant before I see crap, and I'm fine with it."
Perfect. That's what we're here
Good.
for.
Dude, my girl does something that annoys me to no end. She wants me to tell her who wins the season of Survivor midway. She's like, okay, who wins? It's like, no, find out at the end. She's like, no. She's like, I'll Google it right now.
Because if
you don't tell me.
if you know who wins from the beginning, you're able to like examine the social dynamic better.
I guess.
There's a
Really, you are every woman because you like Survivor. Reality TV is all about analyzing those relationships. That's what women love.
But
there's
I like Survivor, and I like those Gordon Ramsay shows where every time he's like, this is the worst dribble I've ever seen.
there's a scene.
Bass is fucking raw.
There's a scene in the show Castle where he finds out that his daughter, he's a novelist in the show. He finds out that his daughter always skips to the last page in a mystery novel to find out who the bad guy is. And he's just super affronted by that because he's like, how could you do that? It's not about the answer. It's about the journey to get there.
For me, the whole point is like at the end, me guessing and predicting correctly.
Do you always predict correctly?
Almost, except for one.
See, I think that's actually probably good. Oh, just one. Like I figured that would be a good thing to only get it right like 60% of the time, because if you can get it right every time, then it's become derivative.
I don't think most people guess it.
Maybe
Dane's just a superhuman.
I don't know. I watch seasons, and by the third episode, I'm like, this guy's or girl's cooking with some magic.
Okay.
I can tell.
Hobbit said, a story can have elements of wokeness and be a good story. If the goal of the story is woke activism, then the story isn't the point, and it's going to suck.
Actually, a good example of that would be Amsterdam. Amsterdam wasn't marketed as a woke movie. It had tons of wokeness in it, annoyingly so, like in the last act, but it didn't bother me because I didn't have to endure a bunch of months of people telling me that if I don't go see it, I'm a bad person.
I mean, honestly, the marketing for Amsterdam was not there at all. So we wouldn't have known anyway.
It was there. It was just very confusing and nobody knew what the hell it was about.
Yeah.
Honestly, the marketing for me, how I deduced it was like, it's an ensemble cast. Anyway.
Yeah. That movie,
Yeah.
that movie's losing like $100 million. Like, damn, dude. Like, imagine
Sucks to be you.
And it's not because it was woke, okay? It's because the marketing failed.
Well, it's because nobody cares about movies like that. They just don't anymore. Like, it wasn't Knives Out, that's for sure. It's not Glass Onion. Glass Onion will do better, and that's only like a 1 week showing or something like that.
Well, why is Glass Onion going to do better than Amsterdam?
Because first of all, because Knives Out did well on streaming and people really liked it. It's the only thing. Plus, people, I think there's a weird subsect of people, just my prediction, that are like really, really want to make sure that Rian Johnson stays as far away from Star Wars as possible. So every time he makes something, you're like, yes, dude, that was so good, dude. You should make another one. You should make another one right now.
There's a new Star Wars in the making.
Yeah,
as well.
with Damon Lindelof. Yeah, he's too big. He ruined Watchmen already. And
what was the name of the other one? The one who directed Miss Marvel.
I don't know her name.
But them both.
She looked very annoying in the picture. That's all I remember.
Oh, yeah. The physiognomy tells all.
As if anybody gives a crap about Miss Marvel.
Right. But somehow these people keep getting jobs.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's the thing. David O. Russell will get another job.
Great work if you can get it.
David O. Russell will get another job directing after making a movie that lost $100 million. And you'll be like, must be good work if you can get it.
Yeah.
Is Miss Marvel the one with the dorky Latina chick or Brie Larson?
Brie Larson's Captain Marvel. Miss Marvel was the teenage. She's Muslim.
The cringe lord.
Yeah.
Oh, she was Muslim?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
The little girl in that is great. She's great in that role. It's just very, very boring and nothing really happens from what I saw. Like,
if the whole point of a superhero is to be relatable, then they're not a superhero anymore.
I saw
they're
Peter
just
Parker.
a dorky teenager.
That's why it's annoying when they talk about like, I want superheroes that look like me. I'm like, no, you don't. You shouldn't. The last thing you should want is
because you're
like,
ugly.
It's like the last thing.
No.
Like, I don't want firemen who look like me either to try and pull me out of a building.
Right.
I want a 6'5" fireman to try and save my life. I do not want someone who's scrawny and tiny.
You're not that quiche.
Yeah.
You're not that quiche, Miss Marvel.
It's Marvel.
I doubt anyone is going to know that reference.
Oh, my God.
Joe Duraki said, Black Adam, how to beginning, a jumbled mess of the middle and then an end. I was waiting for some big redemption arc, but they failed to deliver.
They really did. Like, as much as I love the movie, I will admit that he does not change at all from beginning to end. If anything, he gets everyone else to submit to his violence.
Well, his behavior seems to change, that he's more likely to team up with
Yeah, he's
the
less
Justice Society if they share one common goal, but also like his decision to spare someone or kill them seems totally arbitrary the entire time.
He's like, Sarah Shaw, he looks hot. I'll save her.
Literally, it was like that.
by the way,
she's fine.
By the way,
I'm not
like,
gonna kill her.
Good
Like,
looking
what?
as good looking as she always was. I saw the pictures of her from the premiere, and whoo, she's even better looking than she was in her 20s.
Extra saved.
I love that.
I might have saved an image or two.
Teth Adam was like, "Yo, she's a smoke show. I won't kill her.
Dude, I'm not gonna kill her. Are you kidding
I won't
me?
kill your kid. You're a smoke show."
He's like, my wife died hundreds
Are
of years
you a single mom?
He's like, my wife died thousands of years ago. It's been a while for him. So
Teth Adam is into single moms.
Do you guys
Confirmed.
think I'm not saying when we had Chet Hanks on the show and we say smoke show, he'll like reel back on his chair.
he just
like,
leaves. He just
I told you not to say that.
yeah.
Yeah. Alex Macon Veds and yes, chairs also said, oh, he just left a little like pointing up emoji.
at
Maybe he was like agreeing with what Joe Doraki was saying.
Perhaps so.
Good to know that you make chairs also. We'll be in touch. Yeah, she said, great value Ant-Man was constantly eating. Pet peeve. Was he?
Yeah.
Because
like he was like at the very beginning when he meets Cyclone. Yeah, I liked him in that role. Like I liked him. I admit it. I liked him. I liked him and her. I liked both of them, but I don't expect much more from them. Like I don't like him in a way where I feel like he could carry his own show. But
No.
as an ancillary character, sure, yeah.
But I feel like they would make an AstroTurfed one about Cyclone because she had so many fans because of representation.
When I'm just like, she looks very.
Gen Z loves Cyclone.
And I'm just like, she looks very pretty when she moves the wind. So.
Yay, colors.
Yes, colors. And by the way, that wouldn't be great value Ant-Man. It would be Kirkland Ant-Man. Everything's going to be Kirkland version now.
I love that. The Electric Boogaloo.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Bad App said, I recommend Mars Attacks and Killer Clowns.
Never saw Killer Clowns. Saw Mars Attacks a very long time ago.
By the way, I was today years old when I learned that Electric Boogaloo wasn't something that Brett made up.
You didn't know that was a reference to an actual thing. Breakin' 2.
I was like, Brett, you're so clever and funny.
Yeah.
You should have just let him believe that.
Do you
It was
remember-
way better.
Do you remember when I made that comment about how very few people are actually funny and they're just actually pointing out things in pop culture and they're reiterating it?
Brett, you are great at being mildly amusing.
Yeah, exactly. I shoot for mildly amusing. Everyone should shoot for mildly amusing.
I caved in today because I was watching a stream and I was like, Brett, oh my God, I think you have a fan here because they were talking about sequels to Electric Boogaloo. You must be a Pop Culture Crisis fan.
And I'm just like, no.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
broke the
no.
news to me. I was like, oh man.
Center Conservative Mom 98 said, Dr. Fate possesses the body. He's not the man.
Yeah, he's not the.
And then Caber2X said, Dr. Fate, like Doctor Who, can return in a new body.
So they've got their way around it. It'll be what it is.
But
I don't want.
does
them
that
to
mean it's not going to be Pierce Brosnan?
It better be Pierce Brosnan.
It's going to be a Latinx
Then, okay, if it's the new body thing,
wheelchair
then
bound.
it can't be Pierce Brosnan.
I know.
It's going to be Pierce Brosnan that people want to see, not Dr. Fate.
I mean,
no one
that or
is
they
invested
could-
in Dr. Fate.
They could just set it up in the timeline at a different point, like they did with Black Widow.
That's
It's a
so
bad idea,
lame.
but
Like
could.
they're going to do with Hugh Jackman.
Yep,
What if
It's
it's me? Wouldn't
so
that be
boring.
compelling?
it would be good if it was you.
So good.
I would watch it then.
One
Of
more,
course.
and then we're going to move on to next topic, and then we'll continue on after that.
Oh, you're always ending the fun. Joe Doraki said, I apologize for the typo in my previous super chat.
Well,
Oh, we barely noticed it.
Thank
no
you,
worries.
thank you for your apology. That's very good. All right, guys, we're going to move on. This is a spicier topic, so we're going to.
Yeah.
I want to treat this one with as much care as we possibly can. So it says transgender Marvel actor says the MCU's LGBTQ representation is not good enough. What I found the most interesting out of this entire article is how little they actually care about the actual world of filmmaking, or the characters, or anything to do with anything other than activism, and that to me is a problem. So it says Spider-Man Far From Home actor Zach Barak, it could be Barack, I'm not sure, who is transgender, is taking aim at Disney, saying that the Hollywood studio is not doing enough to champion LGBTQ roles in comic book based films and TV shows. Now remember when I said earlier about why critics care about certain genres? they care about comic books because it's tethered to, they believe, to youthful audiences. I would argue, and I think you would argue, that
That's
it's
such
millennials.
an outdated belief.
Yes, but I think that that's where they see the social capital in it, which is why the messaging is more ham-fisted and more seemingly forced into those genres, science fiction and comic books. So it says, Barack became the first openly transgender actor to be featured in a Marvel film, portraying Zack in the 2019 film starring Tim Holland. I'm guessing they mean Tom Holland.
Funny how your character had to have
The
your
same first name.
Your legal name, because representation is about you.
Well, that or like yeah. So it says, but even though the Marvel Cinematic Universe has debuted a growing list of gay characters, Barack says that the studio has not done enough to help the gay community. It's not good enough, he said in an interview with Digital Spy. I mean, on some fundamental level, even seeing Batgirl shelved, which is not Marvel, it all boils down to what we value, which is not femininity. Thoughts, Mary?
Well, continued.
Yes, yeah.
That's where hating trans people in a lot of ways comes from. That we don't want people to act less than what we see, which is often masculinity. Which is why it's a lot less dangerous to be a trans guy than it is to be a trans girl or trans feminine person.
I have to ask a question first. What is trans feminine? I don't actually understand that term.
Me neither.
Honestly, I couldn't tell you. I guess anyone who appears feminine, which kind of puts femininity in more of a box than it otherwise would have been. But
would you agree that the argument here is actually semi-correct in the fact that they don't value femininity, but they're getting their conclusion wrong? That Hollywood doesn't value actual femininity, but they're talking about it on a surface level.
There are so many layers of like deception and
we haven't even gotten
like
to
ulterior motives in saying that we don't value femininity here that I can't even begin to
let's read the
correct
rest.
it.
Yeah, let's read the rest of it because it gets more manipulative the farther you go down the article. It says, so that's one of the reasons it's harmful. But then more directly, just make the characters trans and face the consequences, Barack says. Be brave.
Consequences.
Be brave, do something. It's like he's quoting Project Veritas right there. Be brave, do something in the world so that when you die, you're like, I'm glad I tried that, and don't regret not doing it. Barack also insisted that he has had trouble dealing with people who are more focused on ticket sales than on pushing the queer agenda, and that those that don't understand how the agenda could help change American culture. And because of that, Barack insisted that everyone needs to push the LGBTQ agenda.
If the MCU were more interested in ticket sales than pushing an agenda, then we would know it.
Yeah. They wouldn't be bragging every time that they let a movie die in Qatar, Saudi Arabia, or any of these places that that ban the movies with LGBTQ themes.
And framing a profit-driven business model as a bad thing is so telling.
It's also funny.
You need to be profit-driven in order to push social messaging, period, even if that is your ultimate goal.
They're literally
you
existing
need
on the
money
backs of the
to
profit.
do that first. You need eyes on screens.
And it really goes to show how much, what's the word? People that protest? What's the
Protesters?
Activists. It goes to show how much activists are being pandered to right now.
Yeah.
That this person is flabbergasted that a company would value profit over narrative.
It's very hard to believe that there's actually people that don't understand why that makes no sense.
What are we teaching in schools?
Yep.
I'm just saying, even from their perspective, if the message is more important than the money, you need the money before you can push the message.
Listen,
Let's go through it bit by bit then first. So I want to talk about femininity first. I want to talk about femininity. What did you make of that statement? Do you actually believe that they don't value femininity?
It's pointing out a problem that does exist, and we can observe that from the way that female characters are written, especially in the MCU.
Yep.
Okay, we have what are called Mary Sues, or girl bosses, whatever you want to call them, like women who have unshakable resolve. They never make mistakes. They always make up for the mistakes of men around them who are just blundering idiots. Yep. And they don't have any of the vulnerability that just any full human being has, and especially vulnerabilities that are particular to them being female, such as physical like prowess in fights.
It's why they love superhero movies, because the characters are overpowered anyway, so they don't have to actually adhere to any type of reality.
Yeah, and that's not exclusive to the MCU, and it's not the MCU that's inflicting that on the rest of entertainment. It's happening in a lot of different...
And not even just sci-fi or anything. Like
not just in the genre. It's in every genre. It's on streaming. It's in theaters.
Regular characters too, not even superhero characters. Like one day, like there's like somebody made a... I was watching a stream once where this guy's talking about, like, there's going to be women one day who are going to be absolutely shocked that when they punch a dude in the face, he doesn't fly 50 feet behind him.
So we are attributing all strength in a female character to how well they can imitate
men.
What is conventionally thought of as masculinity.
Yeah.
But even masculinity is cheapened in doing so, because masculinity isn't just about being emotionless and physically strong.
Actually,
so you're cheapening both.
Is there actually an argument to be made here that the superhero genre, even for the men, denigrates masculinity in the sense that there's less consequences because they're superhuman, whereas part of being a male that's protecting his family, he risks being harmed, whereas these people don't actually see consequences for their actions if they're a man either?
Yeah, and basically that the only way to be a man is to be a beefcake as well.
Well, superheroes are inherently atomized by the fact that they're overpowered, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So that's an interesting thought. And I also like read certain analyses of Superman, especially, that he is sort of an Ubermenschian character.
Because Spider-Man, despite the fact that he's like the relatable one, even he got jacked overnight.
Yeah.
Well, after the Spider-Man, he was like,
so where are the stakes to sacrificing yourself for other people when you are literally almost invincible, if not completely?
Right. Well, yeah, Superman basically, his is like, he doesn't get to, like, for Batman, it's that the stakes are that, well, he can also be physically harmed, but you don't get to tell the people that you love that you are this person, even though you'd like to. That's kind of the same for a lot of them, right? It's like you have to keep your identity a secret, which prevents you from being able to really tell the people you love who you really are, because you're trying to keep them safe.
The superhero narrative, I think, has done a lot to denigrate the hero's journey narrative.
Yep.
And that's a new thing.
I blame the science.
Well, in a way, when I think of Superman, the whole thing is that he's kind of a little baby, but he has he has the tools to fix his situations always. So that's kind of a message, I guess, in a way, for people in general. Is like when you buckle down and you put your mind to it, you can solve it. But in his case, it's because he's super jacked and laser eyes.
So I'm just thinking of this comment here, getting back to what Barack said. He insisted that he has trouble dealing with people who are more focused on ticket sales than on pushing the queer agenda, and that those people don't understand how the agenda could help change American culture. I'm thinking about that as I'm like making the thumbnail for this today, and all his pictures are at these extravagant opening day premieres, which cost thousands upon thousands of dollars to make and put on, off the backs of tickets and comics and toys and everything that need to be sold so that you can come there and complain that you're not getting representative enough. Also, I want to point out that we did have this other article from earlier this year that says that the GLAAD found that broadcast TV now features a record number of LGBTQ representation. The number was 11.9% of characters on network television are LGBTQ, and according to Gallup, in America, 7.1% of the population is LGBTQ. I would guess that number is high. I've seen
there are ways to fudge those numbers.
Yes. But the point is, whether you're talking 3.8% or the high end of 7.1, you are now overrepresented.
And I also know for a fact that Hollywood as a whole is overrepresented from the LGBT community.
23%.
Yeah, they're like 23%.
Yep.
So I was expecting it to be even higher than 11.9.
Yep.
That's just the people who come out. Like they've talked a lot about in the industry.
No,
about how
the 11. They're saying the characters on the shows.
I would expect the characters to be higher than 11.9% based on the fact that people in Hollywood making these shows are way overrepresented.
The other funny thing about that is that it's 11.9% with the possibility that literally any character can be revealed as bisexual at any time if the writers feel like it.
Yeah.
And that happens
Awfully
all
convenient.
the time. And this is what I'm saying. Somebody like me who doesn't care who you sleep with, doesn't care what gender you are, doesn't care about even seeing this stuff in the show as long as it makes sense. How this person is talking about it makes everyone less inclined to watch or to want to watch.
It's so conflicting reading this interview because Zach Barak is talking about how these characters aren't giving enough sheer screen time for you to make a judgment on whether their representation is sufficient. However, and that's part of the problem, as they say. However, if you want to be fully assimilated and represented and included in all these scripts, then shouldn't you blend in?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then also, if their transness doesn't have to take center stage in the show, like they say, that's just how you get transgender characters that are well fleshed out, and transness is part of them. It doesn't have to be all of them. That balance can't be done as effectively without the voice of a trans person in the writer's room. If their transness is supposed to be just some kind of almost irrelevant detail to this character, then
just like your straightness should be an irrelevant detail.
You're calling for two different strategies.
Yep.
Like, should this person's transness take center focus or not? Should this character blend in completely with the rest of the cast because there's nothing notable about them being trans?
And let's face
or
it.
Not.
And let's face it, when you, if the show isn't about that, there isn't enough time. There will never be enough time because the issue is so deep, so complex, and has so many facets to it that if you want to fully explore it, the whole show will have to be about that. Otherwise, it will always feel like you're paying lip service.
Also, don't you feel like this trivializes the experience of being trans anyway? Because you're talking about superheroes who are generally like genetic mutants or like they gain powers from like accidents, or they were like, I mean, there are so many different narratives as to why a superhero is overpowered.
Yeah.
Why they're different and why they struggle with that. And you're kind of, by adding them being trans into the plot and paying extra attention to that, you're putting that real experience on the level of something fictional.
I just get tired of the vague calculus that all these activist classes always have. It's always like, well, no, there should be more of this and more of that and more of this and more of that. It's like, okay, so what do you take out?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like
the ultimate challenge is like, do it yourself and see what happens. Like, is it really that easy?
Right.
And it says that's where hating,
and don't focus on money.
Yeah.
Right.
Says that's where hating trans people comes from. They always also talk about it being dangerous, vaguely dangerous. It's always vaguely dangerous. What does that mean? Give me actual statistics or a problem we can solve, not platitudes. And
I'd love to know what Batgirl getting shelved has to do with devaluing femininity.
You know, it's. I mean, it's
what?
It's just a buzzword. It's just
like I wanted to pull up a TikTok earlier that perfectly encapsulates this gobbledygook language.
The issue with like the activist class is that they never ever have to substantiate any of their points.
Yeah,
Well, they talk about is like it's a multifaceted issue where everyone's perspective needs to be heard, and that's like what's really
And that's all higher
beautiful
education,
about
man.
it.
It's
And
designed to not have a solution.
Higher education is all about sounding smart instead of saying anything of actual substance or intelligence. It was the most frustrating thing during, not as much during my bachelor's, but my master's definitely. Everything was about reevaluating the paradigms and realizing what is the point where the intersections
Yes.
meet
Postmodernism.
junction.
Postmodernism.
It's like, what did you say?
Yeah.
And how can we
Nothing.
look at it through this lens that represents everyone's values?
Oh my God,
And-
yeah.
And then amplify those voices that don't get heard. And it's just like blah, 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 blah. Like, say something that means
Sir, this
something,
is a Wendy's.
please.
Like,
yes.
What do you want to eat?
Right.
And what I found is that they say a lot because let's say an expert can explain something to you very quickly with less words, and when you don't really understand what you're talking, or you're being purposely nefarious and you're trying to obfuscate what your actual point is because you just want to gain social capital without actually asking for any actual meaningful change. Meaning they're not proposing anything; they're just saying more, and the answer is always more.
You know, the most genius idea I've heard about how to deal with activists in the workplace is you get those people and you give them the promotion that they want. However, if they can do all their agenda stuff and promote and do whatever, if they don't have tangible results within an agreed upon timeline, birth control, and you get fired.
See, we value femininity here.
Right?
Oh,
because
gosh.
because you said that you had the answer for an issue. You were given the resources, you were given the authority to fix the workplace in the vision that you see correctly.
Yep.
Here you go ahead and do it, and we have an agreed upon time frame. And if you fail, you're fired, and we're not doing it.
Technically, if activists were being honest, then
They
they
fought
would,
for president.
if activists were being honest, they would admit that by promulgating the problem further is what their actual job is, because they put themselves out of work if they actually solve the problem. So to actually do your job as an activist, your goal is to make the problem worse, not make the problem better.
Also, I hate that just existing as someone who identifies as like trans or LGBT, whatever, in Hollywood automatically throws you into the camp of Hollywood actor/activists.
Yep.
Like, you have to be an activist because you share this label with people.
Really pumped on the idea of like the people that put that off. I was looking into I watched a Goofy movie this weekend, and I was reading about Tevin Campbell, who sang the Powerline songs in that movie, and they talked about how in his Wikipedia they're talking about how his sexuality was a huge question for years. Like, people didn't know whether, like, they would actually ask, like, is he gay, is he not gay, and he never understood why. He's like, why is it so fascinating to you whether I'm gay or not? It shouldn't matter. But then finally, like, I was like, oh wow, he's like kind of based. He's like, I don't give. He's like, it's not important. And then finally, of course, in 2022 or something, he's like came out and made a big deal about it. I was like, just imagine, like, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, there was just a different mindset that you did actually want to just be like everyone else, and it didn't matter.
But they're both freaking snarky about it. It's like, why do you care? And the other was like, why don't you care? It's like, freaking A, man.
Well,
like,
the guy's been
can't win.
had been bothered about it for years. People asking him questions about it. So.
No, I bet. No, I understand that point of view more than the latter, but it's still, it's always a approach from the point of view. It's like, why don't you psychically know how I want to approach this subject?
It just boggles my mind. Like, this, it's very clearly a power grab, and it's very clearly the person doesn't care about the movies, doesn't care about source material, doesn't care about the art form of film, doesn't care about the business of film, only cares about activism, and they promote it. Why? Like, it's not helping box office. You could say it's because they want to be good people, but everyone knows that people in Hollywood aren't good people, so that's not the answer. Maybe it's to assuage the guilt of their creepy pedo islands. I don't freaking know. Like,
this interview in particular being so verbose and just meandering and having no ultimate point, no ultimate goals are talked about, and there aren't any terms being set.
Yeah.
It really just shows either that this person is not properly like media trained to do interviews, or secondly, they're intentionally obfuscating the point or the question.
I don't think you can media train for this either.
I lean towards intentional.
In terms of asking for getting the answers of the questions that we're asking, you can't media train for that, because all you can do is like browbeat and reprimand and do what they're doing. It's like, well, there's not enough, frankly.
There's always more work to be done, but not by me.
Yeah,
that's always the answer.
That child from a Fed that wanted to open like a diverse like pillow company.
What?
David Hogg.
Oh, David Hogg. Yeah.
Oh, to like.
Yeah, he wanted to
rival My Pillow.
He was like, oh no, we're everyone's gonna get a puppy dog and everyone's gonna earn 6 figures and we're gonna make the best pillows. It's gonna be great.
Pillows.
Pillows.
Oh,
my bad.
I was like, damn, multifaceted company right there. Pills and pillows.
He quit in like a week.
Yeah.
He was like, no, I can't do this.
Yeah, they've never, the people who tend to be the most fervent activists have never actually.
There are so many benchmarks to meet, and I get to be the consultant that doesn't do any of the work, but tells you what to do.
Yeah.
That's the whole area of DC is a bunch of people being like, well, this lunch is going to cost you this, and I'm really going to tell you anything. We'll talk about that on the next lunch. And then the next lunch is like, well, this lunch is going to cost you this. Like, they don't do anything. Entered
the chat. Allow me. Why don't you give me a job so I can tell you how sexist your game is?
Beat it.
All right, let's go to super chats.
This topic was such a black pill.
Like it's one of those things where it's like you have to handle it delicately, but you also understand that there's no solution to any of it.
That's intentional.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mimic said Iron Fist would have been much better if it was just about Colleen kicking the crap out of people. She was easily the best part.
Okay, here's the funny thing about Colleen. Colleen is played by Jessica Henwick, and as I was watching The Peripheral, I was telling Dane about this earlier, there's a character in that show played by Katie La Lung, the girl who plays Cho Chang in Harry Potter. And you can tell by the haircut they gave this poor actress that they really wanted Jessica Henwick to play this role, and she was just not available. It's like cool sci-fi girl with like a cool gamer girl haircut, and you're like, wow. And then
she's a babe.
And then they're just like, damn it, Jessica Henwick must be filming Matrix Resurrections right now. We can't get her. Guess we'll have to hire someone else. Jessica Henwick, Colleen was the best part of Iron Fist, absolutely.
Bad App said The Rock is a phony baloney. I agree.
Look, I love it because it's just like, is he a yes man? Sure. Yes. Did he endorse Biden? Sure. Yes. But you know what? I don't expect him to be smart. I don't take my political opinions from celebrities anyways.
It's not.
Bet you wouldn't say that to his face, though.
I would not say that to his face.
It's not political. It's that he's trying to pander.
Fine.
To like rage baiting.
He's dude Beyonce. He's a brand.
No. Okay.
He's not even like he's not a thing. He's been molded to perfection to satisfy the male audience.
Look, if what it takes is a phony baloney who tells me I'm not an awful person and just keeps the focus on the movie, that's a phony baloney that I can understand they're phony, but still get behind because I know what it is. I'm not naive to the fact that that's his job. But as long as he's not telling me that I colonized him and that I'm a horrible person, fine, whatever.
Phony baloney.
Stick your head in the grass.
Boogaloo.
Stick your head in the sand, Brett. Yeah. Phony baloney 2 Electric Boogaloo.
I love it.
Hobbit said Dane thinks Lord of the Rings is cringe. Cancel Dane immediately.
You can try, but you'll fail.
You're gonna get canceled.
Well, I mean, Dane was speaking more specifically about Rings of Power being cringe.
No, I'm speaking about Lord of the Rings
Tried
in
to help
general.
you,
Nope, I don't want the help.
You failed.
I don't want the help.
He doesn't need your help, Brett. I mean, at least Dane admits that he dislikes Lord of the Rings, doesn't pretend to like it so that he can make a spin-off series of it and pretend that he's faithful to the original story.
I don't care.
How about that?
Don't hire me to work on Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, easy. The Last of My Kind said Dr. Fate was nerfed. He could have beaten Adam without breaking a sweat. He's a Lord of Order. Great seeing him in live action. The suit was perfect.
That was a big part of the stuff I read, that people were like that they really felt that they did right by him as far as his costume and the helmet and everything.
Yeah, I don't understand why Black Adam only fought with Hawkman.
What do you mean?
Like, it just didn't seem like the rest of the Justice Society was involved in that.
They were new. Those two had worked together before. The other two were new. Remember, they were like, that was their first time. They just like, he was on his way. He's like, I'm going to my. He was like randomly.
Those two, as in
Atom Smasher and Cyclone, was like their first time all working together. But Hawkman and Dr. Fate had been working together previously.
Okay, but I was confused why Hawkman and Teth Adam were exclusively fighting.
Oh, yeah.
And the rest of the Justice Society was not seemingly involved.
I have no idea. Just because they needed
like,
somebody to be
they were just kind of watching?
Yeah.
I don't understand. Bobcat said, we need good heist movies and westerns again. Hell, a movie about George Leonidas Leslie would fill both genres nicely.
We're in the middle of getting westerns again. That's definitely a thing right now. I see so many things about westerns. I did not see the Deadwood movie, but I still need to watch that. But also, good heist movies. Hell yes, let's go.
No, dude, we need more.
Michael Mann, where are you? We don't need to make Heat 2. That's a bad idea. Just leave Heat alone. Leave it alone. Heist movies.
We need more movies like Memento and Ascension.
No.
I could tolerate that.
Why not?
I guess
sure.
Tolerate. It's the greatest movie of all time.
Ambulance was kind
That
of
and
a
The
heist
Godfather.
movie.
I don't know if I like movies that require intense attention to detail like that.
Mary wants like 68.9% attention.
Your
to
criteria
detail.
is impossible.
You are the woman with the impossible standards needed to be. She's like,
I'm the princess and the pea.
She's
There's
like,
always
it needs to
something
be like,
wrong.
I need it to be like 79.2% attention to detail, 38 point something percent fun. It equals up to a number that's far higher than 100%.
I can't deal with the Easter egg thing. Like, if you need to pay attention to Easter eggs to understand a movie,
Dude, you don't need to pay attention.
or
Some
watch
dork on the
something multiple
internet
times,
will do it for you, and then you gotta Reddit and.
No, I don't want to go to Reddit. I want to
Well,
just
Reddit
watch
will
a
come
movie.
to you.
I want to watch a movie one time and understand it, and not have to go to Reddit to look for Easter eggs or answers about
Guys,
things.
if we get to 30
nobody-
super chats
Do
at
you
some
not
point
agree?
of the week, Mary will read her list of things she like. It's very short and concise.
I've been making a list.
Dude, so she not ironically has this list, and she started reading it to Brett and me, and that in the middle of it, she was like, "Oh, I actually don't like this."
Well, okay.
It was incredible.
The list was things that I want to rewatch and things that I like and want to rewatch. I didn't separate them. Like, there are things that I want to rewatch that I didn't like the first time and I wanted to try again.
Fair enough.
So that's why.
Got it.
Caper2X said, Mary, have you seen the new Doctor Who? I dropped off right at the end of Peter Capaldi's season.
You watched that?
Yeah. Like 9 through, I guess that was 13. And I have not watched since they gender swapped the Doctor. I was mostly grown out of it by then.
I'm guessing they're asking because they want to know if you know about the David Tennant.
I do know about that, and I loved David Tennant's era. I don't know if it's going to be the same. I don't think that was a good decision anyway, because they've never brought back a Doctor before that way. And Brett, you told me that it's because they wanted to time
I have
the 60th anniversary.
I was reading that it had to do with the fact that the 60th anniversary is coming up, but I think it's just for good press because everyone loves David Tennant and everybody hated Jodie Whittaker.
Sure. But it's like,
But
people hated Jodie Whittaker because you casted her to be woke.
Woo!
Thank you.
They just went too hard on the paint with her because it was like they got a chick and they was like, it's time to talk about microaggressions across history in a British accent.
And whatever happened to the idea of, like, maybe they're going to give David Tennant a black trans companion or something? That was, like, in the works as well.
No, the new one has
there was a companion that was also black and trans.
fantastic. It's gonna be great.
So I don't know if that's going to go with David Tennant.
Yep.
I just think you can't remake something that came from that, like, late 2000s, early 2010s era
You can't
where
recapture
we were
it.
kind of immune from current mistakes.
Yep. You can't recapture
Even if
that
it's the
magic.
same actor,
It's not the same.
you just can't like bring back the same feeling.
Nope. They did. There's a couple of examples of that. Like, I didn't like I only saw it once, but I didn't like the Bourne, like Jason Bourne, when they brought back Jason Bourne years later. I didn't really think that one was any good either. Like, that's kind of a more tame example. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan.
Cobra Kai worked in
Yes,
that respect.
That's different. That's
I don't
like
know.
the exception, not the rule.
Yeah. The Last of My Kind said race swaps of characters wouldn't bother me if it was genuine, but it's clearly one-sided. Imagine it the other way. Malcolm X biopic starring Tom Hanks.
I want to see it.
Let's
I
go.
wanna see it.
It's like, and for me,
Black
like,
Panther with Chet Hanks.
like I don't like I know that the race swaps bother me a lot less than they bother other people, but like,
Yeah, some people are like foam at their mouth about it.
but like they're right. Like I wouldn't even use that example because that's a real life person. Even we know the Anne Boleyn story and everything like that, but or they wouldn't make a Blade movie with a white or an Asian dude. They just wouldn't do it.
I'm certain that it comes from a place of vitriol.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's why it bothers me, even
Yeah.
if they don't address it in a self-referential way.
It only goes one way.
Yeah. The Last of My Kind said, Brett, Dane grow mustaches, bringing it back.
No,
Every
dude.
time I shave, I think about it, and then I'm like, no.
Hell no. The
Sorry.
solo stash, I can't pull it off. I think Kellen did.
Maybe just one day?
Sure.
One day of mustache?
Shout out to my son. He pulled it off.
I think you guys should do one day of a mustache.
Nah.
No?
Maybe Brett.
Not me.
Want to try it, Brett?
Nope.
Okay, me neither.
Shredkowski said, just wanted to remind people that the male counterpart to Mary Sue is Gary Stu. Example, Kirito from, what does SAO stand for?
Did you just make a hate crime right now?
It was a hate crime.
Oh, damn.
I would
what?
ask him, do you see a lot of Gary Stu? Like, I guess there's
What is
examples of,
SAO?
I don't know. There's examples of, like, even like I think back to like shows like Arrow, which I loved, but the character is like obscenely like too good at the beginning, but then you see how he becomes that good as a process of the show. But if they didn't actually delve into the character's backstory, it would just be like, why is he just good at everything? But you actually have to see him go from being a completely worthless and useless nobody with no skills whatsoever and become that good at everything. But like, I can't think of a lot of guy examples of it, because the men that grow into those roles do so through struggle. Women grow into those roles through the power of California girl power from middle-aged wine mom screenwriters.
It's just funny that they think competence is a uniquely male trait.
Sword Art Online.
Sword Art Online?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's a
Well,
game.
anime is different when it comes to portraying like masculinity, femininity, and they don't make as many shows with social justice type messaging in it.
Somebody
What
said,
I like about... Sorry.
in the chat says Batman is the ultimate Gary Stu, but you see him train through the League of Assassins, through Ra's al Ghul. But he does have like all the tech that helps too. But yeah,
What I like about video games in particular, one of the things, it's not the thing, but a thing that I like about video games is that they really do diversity, right? One of my favorite video games is Final Fantasy VI, and it's a super like ragtag bunch. It's like there's children, there's old people, there's women, there's men, there's high class, there's lowborn, there's even ninjas, and it makes sense. They're all individuals. Not all of them interact with each other, because that's why I feel like these movies do wrong. It's like everybody gets the same screen time, regardless of the fact of who's the protagonist or not, or regardless of the plot. Whereas here, everyone's kind of doing their own thing, and at different points of the narrative, they have weight because of what the character represents to the story, and they do it great. And I think that's the key diversity, you know.
Hobbit said Brett wants someone to whisper nice things to him.
is that true?
What does that mean?
Is that what I want? Every night when I go to bed, I'm like, somebody affirm my existence. Somebody affirm my existence, please.
You're so cool.
Potatoes for
Please don't do
Seamus
that.
said whispers, Brett, you are the best.
Exactly. Perfect. Fantastic. I feel so much better now.
He really does.
Not Alan Rogers said, Brett, there is no way you're this malleable. Dane, you are no longer a man of the West. Oh. Mary is based, but
Rude.
still a woman.
True.
Isn't that
True.
contradictory?
Malleable. I don't know if malleable is the word I would use for it, but perhaps.
If I'm not from the West, where am I from now?
What made them say that?
My Japanese.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
T-Bone said Carter was trying to figure out how powerful Adam got and called when he needed help. What?
Thank you for your money.
Yep.
I don't understand.
I don't understand
me
that part,
neither.
Carter.
James Orenthal Wen said Deadwood movie was too late to be relevant to the series.
Yeah, I have to. It's I have to see it. I haven't seen it the long time afterwards.
T-Bone said also I don't think Naboo would have let Hawkman touch the helmet even if him and Kent were such close friends, so that was kind of dumb.
I think there's just not enough time in the movies to explain everything. That's one of the things that when people talk about, somebody pointed out in one of the reviews, they never explained how Black Adam learned English. I'm like, dude, there's 2 hours to get through everything. I don't need to figure out how he learned English. I don't.
Well, apparently the reference I didn't get from Lord of the Rings based me not getting it.
Leroy Soleil said, Mary, how do you feel about good old movies, e.g. Kurosawa? I haven't seen any of his films as far as I know. I know you mean Stray Dogs?
Seven Samurai?
No?
No.
Have you?
I've never seen it.
Me neither. Look at us.
One more.
Hobbit said, bringing Tennant back to Doctor Who is just another attempt at remaking something popular from the past. Another Star Wars, Rings of Power, etc.
Yeah, they've got nowhere to go with it. I don't think
Well, even the new Doctor Who reboot in general is bringing something popular from the past.
And
starting from season 9 onward. That was still bringing back Doctor Who from the past.
And they brought back Richard T. Davies, so they think that will sell it. We'll see. I'm not a huge. I'm not. You were the Who fan of us, so that's not my thing.
Yeah, and not for long.
No. All right, let's talk about Jeffrey Dahmer.
Isn't that fun?
Isn't that fun?
Let's do
Fun,
it.
lighthearted topic today.
So guys, with the
a
success
Monday.
of Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story, has led to increased scrutiny and problems with Jeffrey Dahmer's dad. So it says Jeffrey Dahmer's dad targeted by crazed underwear-throwing fans. Yes, Mary? Surprised?
Just an ordinary Monday topic. Nothing to see here.
Yes.
By the way, they were so they were confused with how to title this series.
Oh
weren't
yeah,
they?
it's
At first it was just Dahmer, and then it was Dahmer
Monster.
Then it was Dahmer Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story.
Yeah.
I was so confused with what that was, but I think this is essentially the fact that media consumption is taking over people's personalities and hobbies.
Well, and I mean, what's the condition called? Hybristophilia? That's a thing.
That's a different
Attraction
phenomenon,
to serial killers.
though. Attraction to serial killers
men who
happened
commit
before.
I think it's.
Okay, attraction to criminals.
Hybristophilia is a sexual interest in and attraction to those who commit crimes. A paraphilia in which sexual arousal, facilitation, and attainment of orgasm are responsive to and contingent upon being with a partner known to have committed a crime.
That's a different phenomenon than what I'm talking about, though.
Yes.
The fact that people derive meaning in their lives and
Their whole ethos from fictional characters.
their personality traits and hobbies are all encapsulated by what media they consume.
Yeah.
Dude, I gotta tell you, nothing that I'm gonna exaggerate, but that's me. Nothing disturbs me more that when I go and just meet people and it's I see you're a Chandler, you're a Phoebe, you're a Rachel.
That's weird.
How so many people are like that?
That's like astrology for people who are even more annoying than astrology people.
But friends in particular, for some reason has
Or The Office as well.
not as much because I mean everyone thinks they're a gym, but they're not. You know.
Everyone thinks they're Jim, but they're not.
Yeah, but like it's what you were saying. Like a lot of people are not actually funny; they're just imitating funny people.
There's nothing wrong with that.
There is nothing wrong with that. Not everyone can be Dane Font.
Just don't think that you are.
I spend every day making sure that I understand that I will never be Dane Font.
And I remind him.
He does.
That was rude for no
So
reason.
it says Jeffrey Dahmer's dad. So it says in the wake of Netflix's explosively viral series Dahmer Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story, overzealous fans of the 10-part anthology have allegedly swarmed the Ohio home of the late serial killer's father, Lionel Dahmer, 86 years old, with vicious and sometimes lusty messages for the senior citizen. This is from his caretaker. Says we
Ew.
had his caretaker from Lionel's caretaker Jeb. Says we had a lady stop by at the end of the driveway, take her panties off, and throw them in the yard.
This is like actually abusive. Maybe bordering on like elder abuse, like shouting, "I love you, Lionel."
Yeah, I had to.
You
go.
know his name. You know this person exists and lives here, and you're harassing him. Like, you should get arrested.
Yeah.
Honestly, if people don't face consequences for harassing strangers, then it will continue.
It's younger chicks throwing patties at an old guy.
Yep. Because they're like, look at him. He raised a serial killer. Isn't he so great?
What a world.
And we've already talked about the Dahmer series, just in reference to like, why is this the most popular thing on TV right now, except for House of the Dragon? Is it because people believe that being unrestrained in the way that a psychotic murderer is the only way to like deviate from our strict I guess social etiquette these days?
Yeah.
God really has a great sense of humor.
Men not allowed to be masculine unless you're a serial killer.
Love it.
Like, if you go hunting, that's cruel and unethical.
Yeah.
But if you're literally a psychotic serial murderer,
Add me
then
on Snap.
then add me on Snap, or like, you know.
I think God has a great sense
think
of
this is-
humor. I bet this guy, when he was younger, he was like, oh, God, I wish 20-year-old women would just like throw themselves at me.
you
And now he's like 80 and they throw him panties.
Do you think that this is unique to America?
I don't know.
Or a Western phenomenon?
It's like, yeah, Western. I think it's like a chick thing.
I don't know. Do you think maybe serial murderers are a sort of an American thing because there's more places to run to?
Yeah. There was I remember reading something where like Mexico, it was like Russia used to think that serial killers was a uniquely American thing to be. Like they thought it had to do with American like the overindulgences of being an American led to serial killer behavior.
That's got to be one factor of it,
Yeah.
at least. But like, there's something more uniquely American about your media consumption forming an identity for you when you're this uprooted from like having a real community or culture. You have to find something else to belong to, and sadly it ends up being a cult of personality around truly Evan Peters playing this man. It's not really Jeffrey Dahmer that they are enamored with. It's the actor, right?
Should have been no. Because I think this exists in true crime audio podcasts too, where you're not seeing the image of them. They're literally looking after. They hear the things that these people have done in the way it's described in the media. I don't
But
think
these
it's Evan
stories
Peters.
are being retold in a romanticized way that completely blurs the reality of what happened.
No, but as it's happening as well, there's a bunch of chicks that throw themselves at these guys.
Yeah, this is not new. You go to their like whenever one of them is executed, and there's like women outside of the jail like protesting.
Dude, there was a kid that was driving too quick and he killed a bunch of people, and basically there was a TikTok campaign about like he's too handsome to go to jail. And it was about him like looking all gloomy during the testimony, and chicks being like, "No, he's so cute."
But also, have you guys seen mugshotties?
Oh yeah, I follow that.
I mean, guys romanticize female criminals as well.
No, we just like hot chicks, dude. It's
okay, then
different.
why does mugshotties exist?
Just
and it's more popular
hot
than
chicks.
most of the hot chicks pages that don't involve mugshots.
False.
False.
It is totally
I bet
more
you
well known
there are-
than any
no.
other page
There
that
are-
just posts hot chicks.
I bet you. Well, I was
How
going to
many
compare
pages
it to what
full
I
of
say.
hot chicks?
I bet you there are more women that go after men in prison than men that go after women in prison.
Yeah.
Sure, and we're accepting that this psychological phenomenon exists, and I think it's being exploited by.
I think it's because there's like a funny contrast. It's like, oh, she's pretty, but she's crazy. That's it.
Okay.
Is it part? Is it?
Is the same contrast also the focal point of hybristophilia or whatever it's
but
called?
when you watch mugshotties, it's like she was smoking weed somewhere, and this guy kills people.
I don't know. There are other mugshotty stories that are like, she stabbed her boyfriend.
Hilarious.
Is that lighthearted?
Who was the female
Depends.
like OnlyFans girl who just went to jail or she's going to trial for stabbing her boyfriend? She's got arrested. Courtney
Yep.
something.
Yeah.
Courtney. She like they found video of her fighting with him, like literally 2 days before the thing, and like that's a thing.
So it's not a
What is a
one-sided
woman?
thing, but I think that
In the chat,
Ah.
Dustin says, "What is a woman again? We don't
Great
know."
question.
that psychological phenomenon is real. We're willing to acknowledge that. It's primarily from women, but it's being exploited by the people making a show like this because they casted someone who is known to be a heartthrob of Tumblr girls, American Horror Story star Evan
They
Peters.
should have gotten Skeet Ulrich to do it when he was in his prime.
I mean, those psychos need some entertainment too. I mean, Tumblr girls.
Tumblr girls have plenty of. They have a wealth of entertainment to draw upon. They don't need more.
Yeah, think of all the people they can cancel.
I also want to ask the question, and this is cynical me wondering: do you think that when they realized, do you think that the modern day showrunners, I don't know how old they are, do you think they found like they didn't realize until like recently that Dahmer committed these acts against gay black men, and they literally thought of it as something they could exploit? That's why the LGBTQ tag ended up on the
Right.
show originally. Do you think that was like part of the thought? They're like, we can focus on it and talk about it because that topic is in right now.
Well, like it or not, that is, as a lot of people have pointed out, part of LGBT history. Yeah, I mean, and it's unavoidable that part of Dahmer's psychology was the repression that came from being in the closet, and I'm sure that played into his motivation for the heinous acts he committed. But yeah, that seems like it was an angle for the marketing maybe originally, and then they realized their mistake later on.
So it says anything Dahmer related blows up, says the carer being the Jeb. It seems like every time a movie or series comes out, that's when a lot of crazy things starts happening. The fanboys and fangirls. I would think it's mostly fangirls for Dahmer. Am I right?
Yeah, I would guess that.
There was the other person where they talk about somebody was coming up yelling expletives at them and then peeled out that was a guy. But then a lot of the family members get re-victimized by having to watch this stuff happen over again.
A lot of chicks just like powerful men too. Like,
Yeah, and,
I
like-
remember like this friend of mine who went on a like 2-hour diatribe about how she wanted to be Pablo Escobar's wife.
She
was like, I'd hide the cocaine. I don't care. I was like, okay.
Isn't Jeffrey Dahmer kind of anything but a powerful, an example of a powerful man?
Conventionally,
Right.
he's not. But I mean, he didn't impose his power over people.
I mean, I don't know. Is it just so much that they're so used to seeing men emasculated in television and movies that any type of power will do?
Maybe.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Like
Right.
the men are always ineffectual, stupid, have to be corrected by women. The women go headlong into danger. They're watching, like, I'm picturing a bunch of like middle-aged, like boss babe white women with their blonde ponytail in, drinking wine, and they're watching Lord of the Rings, and they're watching all of these women like telling the men they need to be brave and go into battle. And she's like, I just want to see a strong guy. And they're like, fine, Dahmer, I'll take
And
what I can get.
That's really sick. That, like, if that's true, and that's that void that's been left of like seeing strong male characters is first of all created by Hollywood, and then they fill that void with something so sick as a serial murderer. That's really sick and if true. I think it might be
sick if true.
And like, hear me out, okay? You know how like these TikTok e-boys make
No.
weird POV videos of themselves pretending to get like arrested, and like they like put like fake blood on their face and like fake injuries on themselves, like they got like beat up, and they're like they make these crazy role play scenarios where they like POV like I saved you from like a guy who was like attacking you or something.
Brett,
like
how
they
do we
make
tell
these
her that we scour a different
no,
internet?
no, no. Brett knows what I am talking about. I know. This
Oh,
is
you
like
do?
this is like a known thing that these e-boys do on TikTok.
E-boys.
And it is like a very successful strategy to go viral on the app.
POV
Whether or not
videos
it's
in
like
general.
10-year-old girls watching, I don't know.
Okay,
But like this is a thing.
is guys pretending to get arrested?
Yes, and they like do the like red and blue lights, and like they go all out with it. Okay,
But like,
they
for what
like
reason?
have like blood like dripping like all over their mouths and their
Why?
nose. Like they do this as like like it's a phenomenon on social media that these e-boys do this, and I can't help but think like as cringy as that is and as painful as that is to watch, it's definitely it's tapping into this same need, I think, like that women want to see, like, especially young women. They're deprived of even the most benign like princess story, right? So women want to see like show me something true.
Yeah.
Show me a guy who's willing to run into danger to save someone.
Yeah.
And then it's perverted so far, it snowballs so far to get to like these romanticized true crime stories where it's like any man doing something dangerous, we will watch and we will like it because we have been deprived of a normal story where a man can save a woman for so long.
It's why when they made Terminalist, it
Am I
succeeded.
getting to something?
Yeah, no, you are. It's why
I'm fascinated.
It's why when they made Terminalist and Reacher, it succeeded because people are like, it's been so long since they've just seen a masculine male character act like a masculine male character. They're like,
Yes.
sign me up. I will take what I can get. And
Yeah.
they're completely deprived
And I
of
hate that we've gotten to that point. But like when I see those TikToks of like some, teenage boy acting like he's getting arrested because he like stood up for his girl or something, like my heart honestly breaks for them because they're trying to embody like an archetype of a heroic man, a man who is able to grapple with danger and like sacrifice himself and like risk things. Like that is what men want, and my heart like actually breaks that young people these days don't see that. Like that is true representation. If we want representation, it will be for the authentic desires of men and women. We don't see those.
It's like how the
represented.
phrase goes. Like every guy wants a beast to slay and a princess to save.
Yeah. On an airplane, the women want to save the children, and the men want to kill the terrorists, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, why is that the one thing we can't have represented in media?
It's really funny too. 'cause
As
it's
long
like-
as we're on the topic, as long as we're like arguing about what should be represented, which is stupid anyway, shouldn't we talk about that? Because like otherwise, if you're democratizing all of it by throwing these people to social media, that's what you're gonna get. You're gonna get e-boys throwing their hands behind their backs and
hilarious.
like lip syncing to The Weeknd
The
with
Weeknd?
fake blood all over their faces, pretending that they're saving their girl from like
what?
I
though?
I don't even know. They just
From
create
cops?
like look up like e-boy compilation. I'm sure you're gonna see this stuff.
There's no way I'm looking up E-Boy compilation, Mary Morgan.
Okay, I'm just take me on my word that this is on TikTok and it's a prominent
Not
thing.
a company internet.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. Just no, trust me. As the TikTok expert, as the Zoomer here,
Got it.
e-boys do this shit and it's actually popular because there is a gap in the market.
I wonder if the kids, those people just don't even realize that they're like seeking out something that they can't understand. That like
They don't.
that,
They really
like,
don't.
Innately, they need their whole being is telling them they need. And
Yes.
they don't realize that that's what's happening.
Yeah, and that's what's so sad about it. And then
As literally Hollywood spends billions of dollars trying to program them the opposite direction.
I agree that dudes
right,
rule.
you can't win.
Yeah, dudes are pretty awesome.
Aren't we though?
Yeah.
And it's like
Dudes
the fact fact that they're told they're so wrong and weak and ugly and like undesirable,
Not us, we're hot.
like incapable of like self-sacrifice. Like that's such an ugly thing to tell someone, to tell a young man. Like it really is sad. And then we get to this point where we see someone who like victimizes people
being
valorized and like lionized in the media
to the point where his dad is still alive and being bothered because he killed a bunch of
like, this is psychotic.
Yeah, it is.
I find it more funny.
It's a sign. No, it's a sign of how sick our society is, I think. But it's more than just a fascination with serial killers. It's a quintessential refusal to accept our actual gender roles, and it's like spiraling out of control.
Right. It's like a
traditional gender roles.
It's like a deprivation of seeing men in proximity to danger that leaves us with this gap in the market, and it's replaced with this sick story of a very like a severely mentally ill and morally compromised person victimizing like what 50 victims or something like that.
You know, Mary,
why?
I think that phenomenon that you're describing is honestly, I don't mean to be hey, I'm a bit older, but it's honestly like younger people coming to the realization that the world is the way it is. You know what I'm saying? Because
they've been programmed since the beginning. They've been on phones and tablets from the moment they could hold something, and they've been told the world isn't the way it is, and now they're realizing that it actually is very different from the one that's being portrayed to them on a screen, and they're realizing it in real time.
Right. When I was younger, I believed, the propaganda as well, and that the whole chicks wanted like a sensitive guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The chicks want a guy that cries. Chicks don't want that. Chicks want a guy that
they do. They just want it so they can use it against you later.
That is close to tears, but is disgusted by that fact that he's close to tears. And they're like, no, do it. And he's like, no, I don't want to cry. That's what they want.
Mary's like, I don't know about that.
Mary's having like a fit right now. But it's like that the man is like close to tears, but he won't let himself. It's that restraint and that manly control that they like, and the woman's like, no, do it. And there was a survey. I won't cry.
There was
much to think about there. Not sure I agree.
There was a survey. I'd have to look it up again. That said like 60% of women never look at a man the same again once they've seen him cry.
Yeah, dude.
Something like that.
In a negative way?
Yeah, they lose respect for him once.
I think you could cry. I think you can't weep.
Yeah, it's like you're on the edge. The waterworks have started.
Well, what
manly tears is a thing.
What women want is to feel special by being the only person that a man would do that in front of. That's my hunch. I don't know if I'm right, but
I've cried in front of my significant partners. I don't think it's a big deal, but it's if you're the crier, that's when it's an issue.
Okay, yeah.
It's like here's Dane, he cries. Like,
yeah, that's different than than what you're saying, which is that like you can have no emotion ever in front of him.
The girl will absolutely use it against you once you break up. If you break up,
maybe they haven't so far.
No, I'm saying in general. I'm not saying yours. I'm saying that's yeah.
Well,
I don't believe that they respect it.
I think I agree. I tend to agree, but my thing is that again, if your parents die, and you're like, I'm not gonna cry, you need help.
I'm gonna read this one. Conservative, Center Conservative mom says some masculine tears are attractive, like my husband when both our kids are born. But wimp tears, no, those aren't attractive. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's different. Yeah, exactly. That's related directly to his, procreation and everything like that. Yeah, we're in very harsh territory. Because people can't just make good media. So the fact where like a bunch of weird women have to then look up to serial killers. What is this world coming to? I ask.
Dude, I'm honestly like fascinated by this whole kids pretending to be arrested for chicks.
Dustin says, tell them to call the ambulance. So Dustin, I am here for it. Yes. And then eat a Whamburger and a side of French fries, babies.
I think TikTok is where gender roles have been ghettoized.
That's It's like,
Wow.
where can I go
Clip me saying that.
do you got
Marketing
any
woman
of that?
extraordinaire.
They're just like, do you got any of that masculinity, man?
There's a black market for authentic
masculinity
right now,
It's called
and
the
it's
gym.
on TikTok. Sorry to say.
Go to the gym.
Like, it's
Lift weights.
unfortunate, but also it's like
Eat steaks.
it gives me heart that like they're actually finding somewhere to
Gym TikTok is even funnier because that's like super like
Dude.
gym TikTok's all guys who are like, I don't work out to meet women. I never meet women. I go to the gym because I never meet women.
No, but like there are those videos like that are like after she breaks up with you, and they're like
Yeah.
dudes just like lifting, and it's like, oh,
You should. You should.
Look, that's great, but why are you putting on social media?
Oh no!
Yeah.
Don't.
Why do you have to publicize it?
No, dude. Suffer in silence.
Yeah.
That's. Hey guys, Dave
Like,
Fawn here. Suffer in silence.
have some dignity. Suffer in silence.
For real.
Like, I don't know if we've made it closer to the truth today, but
I don't know.
Be a man. Suffer in silence.
Word.
be man.
Just. I mean, every.
Exactly.
Now, okay.
I love that guy.
Now I feel like I have to correct myself for the dudes in chat, bros. You should have a couple of good friends that you can tell pretty much anything to, right? That so that you're not just being a weirdo and oversharing with everyone. However, be kept in public, like your reputation. Optics is everything, okay? If you're the whiner, it's really hard to lose that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Dane
So-
knows how to market everything, including himself.
Honestly, am I not the bee's knees?
By the way, Dustin hit us with a new one. He says,
I cry.
dial wine11.
Yeah, I
might
love
be
that.
even better than anything. Oh, man.
love
it's, I like, and I thought like Whamburger and Wham Chops were good, but
Oh, Wham Chops is great.
Wine 1-1 might be just
No.
top. Mwah.
I love Wham
Chef's
Chops.
kiss.
Yeah, I made one that was kind of decent. Do you remember? I don't remember it.
Oh, I thought it was Wham Chops.
It was
No,
no way.
Wham Chops is mine.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Whamburger is just a thing.
You did. I remember you making a good one. I don't remember what it was now.
So basically, the idea here is like maybe we should give less. Do you think this has to do with single motherhood and the fact that like men aren't raised with masculine influences that teach them how to be that way, so they have to go to TikTok?
Bro, we're going
That's
deep on this one.
Definitely
What an
also
episode.
part of it. But as far as it relates to like media consumption and like what is on offer today for young people as far as like seeing themselves on screen, they are not seeing their authentic desirable roles on screen.
So then, how is so the men's version of masculinity is ghettoized by having to go look at e-boys with fake blood on them? Is the women's femininity ghettoized?
Oh yeah,
Totally.
absolutely.
What's the analog there?
All the girls doing the
Gosh.
little like.
Because yeah, like girls go on TikTok and they act like these exaggerated versions of like the dits or whatever,
Yeah. And
like they
that's-
want to
because they're filling that role.
they
that-
want to find power in like being underestimated
Yeah.
because that's something that women used to be able to do quite effectively.
And now they're like,
Now they're-
I don't want to be a boss babe, and I don't want to beat up a bunch of guys. So where the hell is my representation?
Yeah, and like think about the Amaranth situation and how her Twitter was supposedly run by her husband, clapping back at all of her haters who didn't believe she was capable of being a high-powered girl boss, like posting her bank statements and like
my
publicly
God.
posting her bank statements to clap back at people who thought that she was like made jokes about
That
her
was-
selling her body for the price of a cheeseburger.
That was so idiotic for him. He's like,
like,
people call me all
really?
these words, but you know what they don't call me? Broke. Yeah, because you sell yourself for money.
Right. So,
Duh.
like, you know
Like,
the joke
what
that,
the
like,
hell?
you're selling your body for less than the price of a cheeseburger. And then she was like, really? This is the price of a cheeseburger? And then she posts, like, a literal screenshot of her bank statement. And it's like, that, now we know new facts. I think that was posted by your pimp.
Was that
Like
you,
everything is just so
was that you
backwards
that
right now.
sent? No, it was like Lydia who sent me one recently where it's like
I love
some
this
lady,
episode.
a lady made like a Twitter post that said, "I never would have thought that once I became she's like an OnlyFans. She's like, I never thought that once I became a sex worker, nobody would respect me and I'd have a hard time finding a boyfriend."
Interesting, right?
Ah,
Fascinating how that
Incredible.
works. Yeah.
But it's sad, dude. Like, honestly, like, positive cases of masculinity are really misunderstood. I remember whenever you and I bust each other's chops, there's always, like, a couple of people in chat like, oh, my God, they and Brit are fighting. It's like, no, we're not, you freaking losers.
Just
I mean,
dudes.
maybe we are.
Okay, you guys aren't losers.
I mean, that's me busting your
Yeah.
chops. It's all love.
Well, the internet has like really obscured
it's
human
very hard
interaction in that way.
The fact that your life exists in transcript now, like if you actually looked at a transcript of me and Dane's conversations, we hate each other. But if you actually listen to the conversation, you love each other. It's just what it is. That's what it is. All right, let's go to super chats.
T-Bone said Carter is Hawkman. Mary, come on. Okay, none of us knew that because he's Aldous Hodge. That's all we know him as. And none of the characters in Black Adam are rememberable. So I'm sorry.
Memorable.
Memorable. Like, did you know that his name was Carter?
Yeah.
But you were like, I don't know.
The main, but I just remember him from from Legends of Tomorrow, the TV show.
But like in T-Bone's
Oh, in
super
that
chat,
comment, no,
you're like,
I
what?
didn't. I was like, what? No, but I did know the character name, but not from the comic.
He said, Mary, you're great, though. You're my fave host. Sorry, Brett.
Oh my God, I'm so offended. What am I
think
gonna
Hawkman
do?
is offended right now.
Yes, he is.
The Last of My Kind said, how many parties for mustaches? Think Tombstone.
Oh, that would have to be. I would have to for before I ever agreed to that. There would have to be a cap on how long I had to have it because I'm not going to keep it for a very long time because I would never have a mustache in public because I don't want a mustache. But if I did it, it would have to be for like a week.
But have you ever tried it?
Yeah,
How can you know without trying?
I mean, I've had it, but then I cut it right off. I've looked at it. It looks horrible.
Okay.
It's awful. Nobody wants to see that. In fact, viewership would tank.
The viewers do want to see this.
We'll have
Just let them endlessly experiment with your appearance. It
all
belongs to the viewers.
Uh,
You belong to the viewers. You are not your own person.
So I'm learning.
How does it feel? Nathan Koss said there was a campaign to save the surviving Boston bomber because they thought he was too cute to execute.
Yep, I remember
Yikes.
that. Yep,
I don't remember that.
We live in a society.
Ew.
All right.
We used to be.
All right, Mary, tell us all about Kanye West. Do it.
Okay, so some of you might remember.
By the way, this is Podluck. Podluck.
Yeah, if any of you care.
Make a song, guys. Make a song, chat.
Back in 2019, Kanye was making prototype plans for a new housing community of dome-like structures in his like 300 acres that he
here.
owns in Calabasas.
From 2019.
Yes. They look like UFOs. And in fact, they were not up to building code in LA, so they ordered them to either be like corrected or torn down completely.
They look like wood versions of like the weird dome they use for the infected bees in the X-Files movie. I'm just saying.
These likely have been torn down, but maybe they're still standing somewhere in Calabasas. I really want an update on this, but Kanye West probably has completely forgotten he ever did this project.
He's like, what?
He's like, dome buildings? I don't know what you're talking about.
Dome homes?
He's done a lot of different things, okay?
Says Dustin.
He's just throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks. Now it's the ecosystem? Question mark?
Ecosystem.
Ecosystem. Even I don't care if it's yay. Ecosystem.
Even
actually
Kanye
makes sense.
doesn't know whether yay is pronounced yay or ye.
Is it the ecosystem? Is it the ecosystem? Could be either. We may never know.
This is going to be his theoretical, self-sustaining mini city.
Till it turns into like Westworld.
I want to say this sounds like a cult.
He's the most ambitious person ever. He's like, I'm going to make a school and an ecosystem.
Do you think that Kanye could run a cult if he felt like it?
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
he'd lose interest.
Better than Jared Leto, probably.
I was gonna say he's gonna hire Jared Leto as like a consultant,
Jared
Right.
Leto has a cult.
cult consultant.
A lot of people think that Jared Leto runs a cult because he has like this.
cult sultant.
It's not okay. It's not a cult. This would be defamatory if I said so. But Jared Leto has this group of like mostly women who like to gather in his name and dress in all white, and it's part of this collective like
This is like just a mental health
creative
crisis for
movement,
women.
something or other. We covered this really early on when I first came here, and
Wait, so if Jared Leto's cult is a bunch of like women that are enamored with him, who the hell is in the Kanye cult?
probably dudes that are enamored with him.
Like
Me and Shane.
people who wear
Definitely.
Donda boys, and that's it.
The Donda boys. I mean,
Oh,
there
yeah.
are plenty of I think that Kanye has like a predominantly male fan base,
It's a bit. Yes, it's a.
which is another reason that he's not allowed to excel and do his own thing because they don't like whatever
chicks
men like.
Ye.
Yeah, but it's probably more men than women
I don't know.
in his fan base.
Let's do a survey.
Because it's about like social cohesion. If Kanye is the opposite of social cohesion right now, I don't think women are gonna be his fan base, right?
He wants to build an ecosystem.
It's been in the work for
ecosystem.
years.
Yeah.
Two Yeezy sources confirmed to Rolling Stone. The sources describe it as a self-sustaining enterprise that would have its own branded homes, retail stores that sell ecosystem branded foods and beverages. I'm not saying ecosystem. The plan is serious with arrangements to launch the first campus as early as next month, one source says. So would this would the school, would Donda Academy be housed in the ecosystem?
Yes.
One of them.
So the Donda Academy is still running and still not accredited for its students. His children are attending it only in the capacity that they go to choir practice there after they go to school at Sierra Canyon. The future of Donda Academy is still in question.
This is more interesting to me than hearing about how all the companies that hate him now and are pulling out their members, they're like, oh, everyone but Adidas. Is Adidas going to renounce his anti-Semitism? He is really in his own universe right now, just kind of existing.
Yeah.
Like, is this the type of thing where he could end up, like, he's never going to end up penniless and alone. Like, he'll always be
He's
fine.
a billionaire.
He'll always be fine. But it is kind of, is there a comparison to another person in the same, like, Howard Hughes-esque, like, Howard Hughes just kind of,
Isn't he the richest African American?
I thought Jay-Z was the richest African American. I could be wrong about that. Is there like an analog of somebody else who's in a similar camp right now that you can think of in the last 20 or 30 years that went through a similar breakdown with that much money and that much capital and power?
I feel like anyone can be taken down. You can't get to a point where you're anti-fragile.
But no, I'm saying, like, is there an example that you can think of somebody going
But I
through
can't.
like of that level of wealth that's been going through such a very, very public?
No, and when you have delusions of grandeur and
Then they turn out to be true because you actually are.
they
grandeur.
turn out to be true. And if you have delusions of like, everyone like paranoia, like if you have paranoid delusions of people coming after you, and then in reality they actually start coming after you,
Yeah.
and the entire media is targeted against you, that's really not helpful for your mental state.
Yeah,
You
it
know?
almost reaffirms the problem every time.
And
an
when your
article's
own
written.
family members prioritize denouncing your comments on blah blah blah
That's wild.
over actually showing you compassion and being involved in your life, that certainly doesn't help stop a cycle of self-destruction.
Get yourself a nice Christian girl, Kanye. Leave
Well, that's
him in
what
the
he thought
past.
Kim was, supposedly.
Yeah, I don't know how.
He still talks about Kim as if she's this like.
You with the sex tape. You over there.
Yeah.
Right.
Come here.
Let's go.
Well, he talks about Kim like she's Helen of Troy and also a saint.
It's
like,
incredible.
The saint with the sex tape.
Yeah.
Over here.
yeah.
The same
And then I think there's also some weird like psychological coping mechanism that he's using, like by immortalizing his mom through his music and Donda Academy. Like, he is very attached to his mom, and I've read about like his family dynamic that he grew up with and how he felt like he was abandoned by his dad. but then his dad also claimed that.
Yeah, I saw that Tucker interview.
They reunited later in life.
Yeah, but his dad claimed that his mother was the reason he wasn't able to see him. But then, I don't know. Even that is like
because his father didn't want them to move to Chicago.
Yeah, but even that is like, did you really make an effort? It's just there's so much that you can't even know about his life. But
that's why we need him on the pod. Yo.
I think that there are some really deep psychological wounds that Kanye is dealing with right now, and he's going ahead with these different, nebulous projects to distract from that.
I don't know if what should be his next project. If you guys could have, if you could be one of that consultant class that gets to give him ideas, what would you have him start?
Am I a chump for thinking he's well-meaning?
No, not at all.
Okay.
He's almost unfathomably sincere.
I mean, he's egotistical, but he's well-meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly my interpretation of him.
And that's totally possible. Like, a lot of people think you can't be, egocentric and well-meaning, but that's kind of what it takes to be a good business person.
He's
anyway.
so beautifully honest.
I want him to buy
when he talks about how he's jealous,
Yeah.
his jealousy, I'm like, damn, dude.
If he bought like Chick-fil-A and allowed it to be open on Sundays.
Oh my goodness, dude! I keep thinking $1 trillion idea.
The
Chick-fil-A open for 2 hours after 11 a.m. church. You're welcome.
I saw that the guy from Hobby Lobby is giving away he's giving away the company. He's not handing it down to his kids or his grandkids. No,
I found out what Hobby Lobby was here. So
Yeah.
I was like,
Hobby Lobby, the 80-something-year-old guy who created it, who founded it, is giving it away. And of course,
really?
my immediate instinct is the same thing as the Patagonia guy who's like, I'm giving away my company to stop climate change, and it's really just a tax dodge.
Right.
Yeah, he's maybe Kanye buys Hobby Lobby.
I don't know what his next move might be.
you should buy PCC.
I just wonder when this train is going to stop.
I mean, I think it'll eventually be one of those things where he'll be out of the news for a while and he'll finally realize it. It's been a couple of weeks.
When is he going to run out of steam?
I don't think so. I don't think guys like this run out of steam.
Even
he's a force of nature.
back in 2020, he had a similar idea after the Dome Village prototypes were built. He had an idea for what he called an eco village and a children's ranch.
He went almost bankrupt when he was originally launching his clothing line. He was asking people for money on Twitter, which was incredible, and now he's a billionaire.
What I really like is
there's just something about him, dude. The thing is that the school seems sus. I don't want to say that, but I mean, if you're not accredited, what's the point?
Yeah, and it seems like they're prioritizing student athletes.
Because for me, if it's when they're young, you need accreditation. You absolutely need it. If it's after college, it's college is a scam anyway.
But it's supposed to be K through 12, and it's supposed to be college
That's the
prep.
issue. I mean, that's the issue because you're not going to get into a college if you don't have a high school diploma.
It's not college prep if it's not accredited, yeah. But I like that Kanye is kind of a solution-minded guy, even though he's not the most pragmatic. He has a vision for a lot of things. So his idea for this eco village was to provide sanctuary. This is from his draw up plan that he posted on Twitter. Provide sanctuary for those who choose plan A, meaning those who do not terminate their pregnancies when they're not ready to raise a child. So his approach is supporting mothers and families, provide a place to safely experience pregnancy and birth.
Well, he has
programming.
He's been a huge advocate for the fact that
Yeah.
the biggest thing facing the black community is the abortion of children.
Yeah. He said programming includes therapy and education on entrepreneurship, parenting, personal development, offers stipends, childcare, and career opportunities. And then number 2, he said rehoming, sustaining life for children at Birthday Lake, temporary and long term. He wanted to provide high quality education, music, art, STEM, ecology, farming, nutrition, access to healthcare, holistic prevention, emotional intelligence. Like, he's obviously like a very like vision centric person. Like he doesn't know all of the pragmatic details, but he does have the money to
He needs
put
a
things into action if
structured
he wants to.
partner.
Yeah, he needs somebody that's more. He's idea oriented.
Yeah.
He needs somebody that's plan oriented
Yeah.
to actually put them into. Bill Gates and Steve Jobs were very Steve Jobs is very idea focused, but he needed the people that could actually implement the ideas.
This is why I think that Kim and Kanye were kind of a power couple, because
They absolutely were. but-
Kim is a ruthless pragmatist, and
And he's a dreamer.
yeah, she's a profit-driven careerist through and through. She's no vision. She's not very original. She kind of mirrors whoever she's with at the time, which included Kanye.
There's a really funny.
She was like
pictures of
his
her.
muse.
There's like really funny pictures of her like after she started dating Pete Davidson and how her style changed to
Yeah.
match Pete Davidson.
Exactly. So she's kind of a mirror, and he's all about like a vision. That's why they were good together, and that's why I want Kimye to get back together.
You should
Okay.
start-
I mean, but she's about her, and he's not.
There's a tension there. I think she liked being a muse for Kanye, and they obviously like were compatible enough to start a family together and stay together for quite a while, longer than anyone had a right to expect.
Yep.
So
We'll
I
see
think once you've started a family, you really need to commit, whether or not it feels good at the moment.
In the chat, they're saying you should start Jurassic Park. Yes.
In
No?
this eco village,
Sure.
Yeah. Just bring back dinosaurs.
Why not?
it kind of sounds like that's where it's going.
It's freaking awesome. Let's go.
Let's do it.
The Tyrannosaurus Rex. It'll be freaking.
I just can't wait for Kanye
Genius.
West's homesteading king era. It's kind of like Jeffree Star moving to Wyoming to like start an alpaca farm, and he's like hunting and shooting rifles everywhere, and he's literally like a gay makeup artist who was
Kanye's
like
just-
a MySpace star.
Kanye's just becoming Owen Benjamin, basically.
I mean, really, Owen Benjamin is trying to become Kanye, and he's failing at it. But like, homesteading is influencing more people because of what Kanye is putting out there than anything. It's interesting.
You gonna go live in the ecosystem?
If
The
he invites
Yee
me, probably.
Co-system.
Honestly, dude, if
Field trip.
I'm not lying,
Yes.
if Yale University or whatever the hell it's called, Donda, sorry.
Donda Academy.
If Donda Academy was for 18-year-old and over, and my kid wanted to go, I'd be like, dope.
like
but-
as a college,
Yeah.
I think he is already thinking about Donda
Because the
University, though.
connections that you probably get at Donda University, the point of going to college is to make lifelong partnerships and friendships, and the only way to do that right now is to belong to a cult. So, if that's an alternative, then sure.
It seems like the only parents who have gotten their kids accepted to Donda Academy so far, though, are people who have a personal connection to Kanye.
That's what I'm
already.
saying. So, like,
It's
why not,
already too exclusive of a club to let anyone else in.
that was my point. So, like, if you're accepted at Donda University, you're going to be with some well-connected people. Go ahead, my son.
True.
All right, let's move on. You want to talk about Billie Eilish? This one's big to you.
Is it?
You mentioned-
I mean,
well,
it's not that. It's not that
You
big
kin-
of a deal.
well, you mentioned it. You know more about Billie Eilish than I do.
Well, sure, yeah. Kind of because I've been forced to.
10-year age gap, is that like a big I guess because she's so young.
People in Billie Eilish's fan base especially are uncomfortable with the fact that she's in a relationship with Jesse Rutherford. He's the guitarist for The Neighborhood, and he is ugly. He is tragically ugly.
Are the eyebrows being shaved off on purpose?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they are. That's most of the problem I have with it, is that she's pretty and he is ugly. But the fans are mad because he's 11 years older than her. She's 20, he's 31. And it's the power dynamic
Yes, of course
that
it
is so evil. You can't, it's just like the hypocrisy really gets me when Billie Eilish has been sexualized from a very young age by the media and then the second she's actually an adult, that's when you're going to start being a prude about it.
He just looks like he has worse instant message game than Adam Levine.
No way.
Do you want to tell us some other things you were saying about him earlier?
I don't think I can say any of that on air.
You can't repeat that on air? Really?
See, guys, I'm actually funny. Sometimes it's just I'm not
really
funny.
is.
But you're not allowed to be funny
I'm
on
not
YouTube.
funny
That's the problem.
in a way that's allowed on YouTube. But yeah,
Many such cases.
careful where you're always be aware of where your drink is when he's around. I'm sure.
Sassy Brett is a delight.
Yeah.
One person on Twitter said Jesse Rutherford was alive during George H.W. Bush's presidency. Billie Eilish cannot legally drink.
Yeah.
She can't? How old is she?
She's 20.
She's not 21 quite yet.
Long.
So everyone is moralizing about this age gap when at freshly 18 years old, she did a lingerie shoot.
Yeah.
And it's just are we going to enforce things or not?
Yeah.
Are we going to enforce protecting young girls from sexualization or not?
But so the idea is
It really bothers me because the media is to blame for this, and the media is to blame for her maybe thinking that a relationship like this is normal as well,
or that it's going to be beneficial long term, that you're actually going to grow and learn anything from this.
It's also not confirmed because neither of them have posted anything on social media about it. They've just been seen out together. But from what we know about Billie Eilish's previous relationship with someone named Matthew Tyler Vorse,
Yeah.
she has a type, and it's okay. So I looked at some posts on Reddit talking about her previous relationship, and let me just read them out because they're very self-explanatory. Okay. Sad that Billie, who covered up to avoid being sexualized by gross men, is now dating one of said gross men. Disappointed, but not surprised. Another one said, I checked his Instagram and Gen Z are roasting him to the moon and back. He calls himself a degenerate, has creep tattooed on him, and tons of gory pictures.
Probably listens to Radiohead.
Gives me fake, deep, tortured soul, man-child vibes. Yuck. And that's about her former boyfriend. And now she's switched him out for the new model who is actually older. So she clearly has a type. He's clearly, not the most well-adjusted guy on the planet.
Yep. It's
People just love making the same mistake for a billion times. How many people do you know that just date their ex in a billion forms?
Yeah, in one way or another, they recreate that ex through one trait or another through multiple relationships. So she's he's 10 years older than her. What would have the appropriate age difference been for her?
I think maybe people would not be as angry if they had met when she was over 18.
Yeah.
People are pointing out it's creepy because they met when she was 16.
Okay, so that's the big part.
Someone tweeted, Jesse Rutherford is too old for Billie Eilish, and it's made worse by the fact that he met her when she was barely 16. The Neighborhood is one of my favorite bands, but it looks like I'm about to stop listening to them. I'm so devastated. I hope Billie knows what she's doing.
I mean, let's be honest. It's because he's disturbing looking. If he was a clean shaven,
But it's weird because that kind of is what women are told to like now is scrawny, pale dudes who who are covered in tattoos, who look like they haven't slept in years.
According to the completely infallible formula of half your age plus 7, he should be dating someone no younger than 22 and a half.
Oh, is that true?
That's
is that scientifically backed?
It's basically scientific. It's basically science.
It's bro science.
It's bro science. Yeah, it's bro science. So he should be looking for 22 and up. So she's out of his acceptable range.
There's just if anything, you have to think about this from a career perspective. If we're talking about power dynamics,
I'm dating someone half my age plus 7.
Go off, King.
Dude, nice.
Always works.
She has a way more prominent career than Jesse Rutherford has. So wouldn't that equal out their power dynamic?
Theoretically, also, I would wonder who pursued who. Did he pursue her? Did she? In this day and age, I almost find it hard to believe that the guy even pursues the girl. I'm sure she pursued him.
There's just no winning
No
because
way.
if you point
I mean,
out that
maybe.
you think it's creepy, you're infantilizing her and you're like robbing a woman of her agency. But also, if you don't point out that it's creepy, then you're part of the problem that women are taken advantage of in the entertainment industry. And it's like,
Basically,
you
the idea is like
can't not be the villain in this situation, even though you don't know these people.
because there's nothing that women are allergic to more than agency.
I mean,
Damn.
there is a
I'm
lot
kidding.
of no, you're not kidding, and it's true. You're not kidding, and it's true.
In this case, I mean, I don't know. She's not the one complaining. Other people are. So it's not like she's the one
But
saying
let's
it.
think about
But
what
in
happens 5 to
a
10
decade,
years
yeah.
down the line.
She'll be like, oh my God, I had no idea what I got
Oh,
myself
yeah.
into.
Writes a tell-all memoir mentioning someone whose name rhymes with Schmessy Schmotherford.
And then you'll have to endure the annoying people on Twitter who are like, I was pointing this out like a decade ago.
Sure,
I
all my
was
relationships are
demonizing
toxic.
this man for dating an adult woman before it was cool. Like, there's just no winning in this situation. And I want to call back to what you said, though. Women are allergic to agency. It's true. Because there's a lot of power in having plausible deniability in these situations.
Must be
It's
nice.
all about the plausible deniability.
I think we can guide this nation.
She wants to release a statement that says like, I am a grown woman. I have my own views. I know what I want. But she's like, well, what if 10 years down the line I want to complain about this? I'll just delete that tweet I was about to release.
Guys,
Even if it's not Billie Eilish herself thinking this far ahead in the game, it's one of her PR reps that's thinking about
everyone
this.
should tune in compulsory to Pop Culture Crisis at 3 p.m. and get all their takes. All these takes are perfect.
Just we don't miss here.
Are we being extra based today?
We're
I
basically-
think so.
We're basically
Oops.
the dead shot of podcasts. We never miss.
Every
So-
time every time I look at chat's like base.
An anonymous insider source
Love
in the
those.
situation
Love those.
gave an exclusive to Hollywood Life, saying Billy and Jesse have known each other for years, so even though they've only been dating a short while, she feels very comfortable with him.
She can leave her drink around and not be worried that anything's going
Right.
to happen.
Billy knows fans may be concerned over their age difference, but it really isn't a concern of hers because they connect on so many levels.
Well, in 10 years, we'll just see how much those levels actually matter.
Plus, she's turning 21 in a few months, so there won't be as many restrictions in terms of where they can hang out.
Oh my God, they can go to the bar together. Holy shit.
She respects Jesse as a person. They added, not only is he very successful as an artist, a fraction of how successful she is, but he's also incredibly
Yikes.
smart and funny. Amazing.
She's like,
And
well,
Harvey.
for
He
every
treats her
year,
with nothing but respect.
for every year I'm younger than him, I've sold 1 million more records, so it really
Wow.
just evens out.
Am I expected to buy any of this? And then also we have an anonymous source claiming that Billie Eilish's brother, Phineas, overwhelmingly accepts and approves of this relationship because they have such an electric connection.
Well, I mean given
that's
how
good.
close her and her brother
Right.
have been.
but look,
Oh, they aren't?
Phineas,
I don't know.
Phineas, her brother, dated and I believe is still engaged to a woman who looks almost exactly like Billie.
Yeah.
And it's really effing creepy.
I see that a
it's
lot.
really creepy.
I see
Maybe
so many people
look up some
dating-
pictures to show. Like,
What's her name? I don't know her name.
Oh god.
I forgot the name of Phineas's girlfriend, but look up like Phineas Billie
How do you
Eilish,
spell Phineas?
Finneas,
God. What an episode. What a
and
Monday.
look up pictures of his girlfriend or maybe fiance. I forget if they're engaged.
Young Gravy. I just want to say Young Gravy.
Young Gravy's awesome. Fiance.
Hide your moms.
Oh my God.
Look at her. Pull up that picture.
No, it's this other one. Is it?
And there are side by side photos that show them. Like, it's so creepy.
Yeah, I'll pass on that.
I mean, who doesn't like cute brunette chicks?
No. It's nothing about how she looks. It's like she looks fine, but he's dating a woman who looks eerily similar to his sister.
A little bit. I mean, I don't see it as much as you do.
I don't know. It depends on the picture, but like, there's no denying that. There's
one
no
is
denying that.
Oh no, that's actually Billy there. Never mind. Okay, yeah, I don't know.
See, you're already missing what the difference is. You're
What
already
it is.
Dude.
you're already mistaking them for
So
each
the
other.
whole family's a mess, is what we're saying here.
Obviously, yeah.
Yes.
And I don't know if we should trust all of these anonymous inside sources.
You're doing a lot of chick jutsu today.
What?
Doing a lot of chick jutsu.
What do you mean? What is that?
Like a bunch of chick connections. It's like, well, if you wanted to discredit him, check this out.
Yeah, I'm like at the hair salon talking shit.
Yeah.
All right.
Feels
Love
like
it.
that.
I have
Love
a couple more things that I want to mention before we go. I have two womps for today, guys. I have
Okay.
two. The first is that Alec Baldwin released an inappropriate ode to Helena Hutchins on the 1-year anniversary of her death. Imagine.
I love the cliffhanger. Alec Baldwin released an inappropriate ... bullet.
Yes. Imagine like Jeffrey Dahmer's dad released like a
He like releases anniversaries of each victim's death. Like, we'll always remember you.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
It would be like George
like,
Bush.
Maybe
Obama.
stay out of it.
Yeah.
Maybe
So-
stay quiet. You don't need to put that on social media.
So people were like, you know what? Maybe this isn't the best idea. You know, maybe you should just stay quiet. Considering there's still pending litigation, maybe it would be best for you to keep your mouth shut. I get more and more, like, as much as I've always kind of thought he was a sociopath, I get more and more sociopath vibes from Alec Baldwin.
It's such an overcompensation.
Yeah.
It creeps me out. Like, you're trying to seem way too sympathetic, right?
Yeah.
But failing.
or,
Tragically
yeah, like not so like he's.
I don't know, like
empathetic, like yeah, like it's.
He already said that he doesn't regret it and that he doesn't feel any remorse.
said that?
And he said he didn't.
No
feel
way.
Like he,
No, he says he doesn't feel like he did anything wrong.
He also doesn't admit.
Yes. This is like all
killed
direct
a
quotes.
person.
If Jeffrey Dahmer was still alive and he was like, I would like to issue it's like in memory of my victims.
He still claims that he didn't pull the trigger.
Yeah.
And look, even if you think it's a prop gun, you don't just pull the trigger on it. That's scary. Like, why would you do that?
Not so cash.
And
You're not that quiche, Alec Baldwin.
And on top of Alec Baldwin, we have, it's been, let's see, this is 8 years, but we finally got an apology for that 2014 U2 album that they put on your phone.
Oh,
Yes,
gosh.
so
they finally
funny.
apologized for it, guys. It says Bono has finally apologized for the infamous iTunes stint almost a decade later. In his new memoir, Surrender, 40 Songs, One Story, the Irish singer reflected on the 2014 controversy when the band's then new album popped up on everyone's iTunes without their permission. I frankly found serious boundary issues there, and I don't find any
I
kind
felt
of
violated.
Yes, I felt very violated. That's all I'm saying.
Taken advantage
like,
of.
Imagine all the times in your life you've ever like put on a playlist and you have to like self-censor so your friends don't see your. Imagine you're just in a car with friends and your iPod's on and suddenly a U2 song comes on and your friends never let you forget it and you're like, dude, I swear it just ended up on my phone somehow. I don't know how it got there. Like, oh bullshit.
Do you like
dude.
logistically understand how they accomplished that?
Yeah, because you had to connect to your iTunes to upload stuff and it would automatically put it on
But
there.
why?
You know, in
Why?
that one song, he counts 1, 2, 3, 14.
Doesn't that mean you can't make any money off of the album if no one's buying it? You're
don't-
forcing everyone
He got
to stream it?
paid
Yeah,
to obviously to put the thing there.
Yeah, so
Weirdly
basically-
enough, like I had a history teacher back then
Apology not accepted.
who
Do
was
better.
like obsessed with U2 and had U2 posters in his classroom.
That's
So he
too
was
bad.
stoked on that.
I bet. Like, and if I remember correctly, you couldn't get rid of it. Like, it would just like you delete it, and it was like that. It was like this creepy thing where it just pops back up, and you're like, go away.
You're like shaking in the corner, like rocking back and forth.
just-
Like,
it
just,
keeps
just leave me alone.
Re-uploaded it. So yeah. So that was a thing, and luckily nobody made that mistake again ever afterwards.
So we are.
Well, think about how personal music taste is. Like, music taste is extremely personal. Like, that is an affront to just like have a bunch of stuff end up on. Like, I don't want a bunch of Creed music showing up on my freaking on my iTunes or my phone or.
But also, no one uses iTunes anymore.
Only mine's objectively correct.
Yes, of course, exactly.
As right now.
So, guys, I don't know if you take that apology as something important or if you actually believe him, but I saw a couple people in the chat saying that they're not accepting the apology. So
Yeah,
we
they're
understand.
not.
We understand, guys. All right. Did you guys ever listen to that album? I never listened to the album.
I
don't think
deleted it
did.
instantly.
Mary?
I did not.
No. Yeah, it was worth a shot.
I mean, there's some good U2 songs. Am I gonna get canceled over that?
Yeah, you are.
Yes. Yeah, that's
Why are
that-
you sympathizing with our oppressor?
Yes, you're
There's
making a
There's
mistake
some
here.
good ones.
He's wrong, ladies and gentlemen, but that's all right. Dane, thank you so much, man, for coming out today.
Hey, today was a fun one.
It was fun.
I liked it.
Chat was bussin'.
It was busting.
Let everyone know where they
For
can find you,
real.
man.
Hey guys, you can find me at Dane Font on Twitter.
Perfect. Mary, where can they find you?
No Kizzy. If you want to find pictures of me on the internet, you can follow me on Mary Archived on Instagram. And if you want to see my inane thoughts on the internet, you can follow me on Twitter, also at Mary Archived.
And we have to shill. We have to shill.
I'm going to shill the link again. You know how it works. Go click the referral link in our description to get 35% off of a Daily Wire Plus membership or $12 off of a Jeremy's Razors Founders Kit. It helps us earn points in his competition for the McLaren.
Perfect. Guys, I just wanted to thank you all again for coming out and watching the show, listening to us, joining us Monday through Friday. I was out over the weekend and I was just walking around, and it kind of, as the weather changes, I got fall vibes from a couple of years ago, and I was thinking about just how different life is now from then, and it really just kind of hits me then now and again just how lucky we are, how lucky I am to be able to do this show for you guys every day, Monday through Friday. So thank you very much. You can follow me on Instagram at Brett Dasvik for the show. We do hope that you would like the videos, comment on the videos, share the videos with your friends. I should be telling you guys that more, but I always forget. But so please
and
share.
Also go to the Pop Culture Crisis subreddit. We just did our first meme review on Friday. It went incredibly well. We had Dane on, and it was a treat. So continue submitting your memes, clips, whatever edits you make. Or memes about anything we talk about, and we want to do a meme review again as soon as possible.
Exactly. So we are here Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific right here on YouTube. We are also on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify if you'd rather listen rather than watch. If you'd like to follow us on social media, we are on Twitter at popculture_show, Facebook and TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. We'll be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then, guys. Later.
Bye.